baby.
Guys, thank you for coming to be a part of our podcast thing.
Thanks, dudes.
Super interested in what all the bump organization. I don't know too much about you guys, really.
Cool.
I've heard that you guys help do. I do see the signs up at Oak Mtn State Park, where you guys help to maintain the trails. But other than that, there's probably a lot of people out there who maybe don't know exactly what your organization is.
Mountain biking.
We invented cycling.
Created it. Didn't exist before us. Is that right, Will?
Pretty much. We pretty much laid the foundation for all fun sports.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
across the
two-wheel-
board.
Just
Yeah.
two-wheel sports.
Nice.
Two-wheel sports.
Nice.
Well, how long has Bump been around, and what is the organization? What do you guys do?
So I think I know. I've had to do a lot of this. I'm the race guy right now, and so there's been a lot of like history of the race for media stuff, and so I found this out. We've been around since '96.
Whoa.
Which is a long. I mean, that's a long time for a nonprofit. Or
I mean, mountain biking alone has only been around a couple
Yeah.
years before that.
yeah, like early '90s. The first,
Wow,
like
okay.
first sort of dirty, scruffy, bearded hippies from Northern California invented mountain biking like '91, '92, and it got to be a real sport '93.
Oh, wow. So the sport in general is
Yeah.
like really
Didn't
new.
know it existed.
Wow.
Somebody came up with it, and
People
I
been riding bikes. Nobody thought to take in the woods.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah, they had to figure out how. You know,
Yeah.
you picture like a bike that rides on the street, got skinny tires, mountain bikes, fat tires, all that stuff was invented. You know, it didn't exist. Somebody made it. And these scruffy dudes in California came up with these bikes that were fun to ride downhill.
Yeah.
And they were like the beater cruiser bikes. And they were like, hey, what if we put better brakes on them and then Nibby tires on them? And just kind of ran from there. And then, you know, like, you don't think of Alabama as like the most progressive place, but there were some real progressive, like, hey, this is a cool new sport, let's jump on it, people in Alabama. And little known fact, Alabama's like the perfect terrain for mountain. We have the best, like all these legendary places where there's mountain biking, we have better terrain than they do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 for 2. We got the best beaches and the best bike riding.
We
Yeah.
do.
We
It's
do.
true.
Nice.
The worst drivers, but the best bikers.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I've ridden
You
my
can't have it
bike
all.
you can't win at everything.
all over.
Yeah.
You know, been coast to coast, and Jacob, I'm sure you have too. But I'll meet people. We've met people out in Utah, Colorado. Like Utah is only rocks, and they're like, "Yeah, I bet you've never ridden a rockier trail than this." It's like, "Oh wait, have you ever ridden in Birmingham? Because we have some really rocky trails."
We have amazing terrain, and we have, you know, ridges, valleys, like up and down. And mountain biking, you know, it's not doesn't have to be in the Rockies. What you need is elevation, and we've got a lot of that. You can go to the top of the ridgeline and bomb down for 10, 15 minutes in Birmingham, and so people, some really like smart people figured out like we have a great amount of land here. We got this huge park we could do something with, and credit to the people that were involved in the state park system back then. They had a bunch of weirdos in tight pants walk up and be like, hey, can we build trails? Like, sure, do that. And so, you know, these guys that were, you know, there was no template for it. They just kind of figured it out. They figured out how to make some great trails. And the legends, like if you go to Oak Mountain now, you'll see this trail called Johnson's Mountain. And Johnson's this beautiful piece of trail, just incredible, like winding climb, beautiful descent. Bill Johnson's the guy that like was involved in the early days and had the foresight to go out and like map this stuff out and show them like we can build this trail. It's going to add to the park experience, going to make people want to come ride here. Mm-hmm. And so they did that. And cool thing is a lot of these guys are still around that to the early days of the sport were involved in or still involved in the club today and still ride out there all the time today. There's a guy named Hardwick Gregg who's like a legend in Birmingham. Hardwick's been a national champion in like 3 different bike disciplines. Hardwick was the original race director, the job I've got now. Hardwick was the very first guy to do the race at Oak Mountain, and he came up with the idea for a race there in 90, what do we say, the first 28 years? So
Almost 30. Or 28.
28 years, so what is that, 90? I'm not good at math. 90-something.
90-something.
yeah.
Early 90s. Okay.
And so Hardwick had this idea, and there wasn't much trail then. What there was is a road to the top of the mountain. And so they were like, right at the top of the mountain on this dirt road, which is terrible, descend all the way back down, go up and do it again, and come back down. And that was the original race course. There was a little bit of trail, but that's what they made. And it was a crazy, crazy, unforgiving, really, really hard race. And people signed up and came and paid money to do it. And they've kept coming for almost 30 years.
Man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Would you say that Oak Mountain? I mean, that's the only place I know to ride. I'm relatively new to the world of mountain biking, but it seems like the popularity lately has just exploded.
Yeah.
And apart from Oak Mountain, is that like the main place that people ride in the state, or are there what other places are there in Alabama that?
Yeah, Oak
People
Mountain is
ride up.
definitely the kind of top destination for mountain biking in Alabama, but we bump Birmingham Urban Mountain Pedalers.
Thank you. That's an acronym.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't guess we
Look at
explained
get that
that.
out there. Yeah. It's not a good acronym. Mountain peddler. I
The
don't
big, ugly mountain people.
Urban, right? That was closer.
That's actually, we're going to change that. Big Urban Mountain people. But yeah, bump actually, like, I guess going back to your original question, is we're a nonprofit organization that maintains mountain bike trails in central Alabama. So right now we work with Oak Mtn State Park, Trussville. They have a really great park at the Trussville Sports Complex with the nice little loop there. And we have Tannehill in our portfolio.
Okay, I've
as
rin
well.
Tannehill, yeah.
Sweet trail.
Those are
So-
like really cool trails.
Beautiful. Yeah.
3 really different, really awesome locations in central Alabama that, you know, if you live in Birmingham, an hour that way, an hour this way, or 15 minutes down the road, you can hit some insanely awesome, fun, different stuff. But us as an organization, we maintain those trails, which is sometimes
so
like a
much work.
daily
Yeah, dude.
a daily operation, and we're always looking for new opportunities to build more, and we're looking for opportunities to get more people out there to hang out and go ride, because like for some of us, me, I like to, you know, I'll sucker anybody to get on a bike, and it's like, please just like get out in the woods, like put this bike between your legs and start pedaling and watch what happens. It is so cool just to leave the hustle and bustle of whatever you're doing during the day and just go out into the middle of the woods and have just nothing but like dirt under your tires and trees all around you.
No cell phones, no computers.
No,
yeah.
so who
Getting out in
was
the
that?
woods,
A
man.
lot of snakes and.
Snakes.
You
yeah.
can't be unhappy though. I mean, like it's a beautiful sport. It'll make you smile. Like it's just that's what it does. But I mean, Will was saying like it's just. Will answer the original question, which what do we do? We maintain those trails, but like it's a cool mission, and it's a reason there's a lot of good volunteers because it's rewarding. It's a fun thing to do.
Sure. Yeah.
You get people from all different backgrounds out there on the trail, and you see everybody have the same reaction, which is everybody's out there having a great time. It's just a cool thing to do, is ride a bike through the woods, and we've got a lot of beautiful woods, you know, to do that in. But, like I do a lot of history stuff. 'Cause this is the sign you get old, is when you start talking about the history a lot. But like, I can't help but think about it because I grew up like I'm from Childersburg, like down Highway 280 from Birmingham, and I lived in the woods and. By default, I was mountain biking because we lived on a dirt road. So if I was riding, you know, a mountain bike. But there weren't mountain bike trails. Like there just wasn't much of that. And then, you know, Oak Mountain started building trails. And it was like, this was this cool thing. You could go and ride on a trail built through the woods for riding bikes on. That was a cool thing that didn't exist. And now it did. And so from, you know, my reference point is like, hey, in the 90s, early 2000s, there was a little bit of trail at Oak Mountain. And then there got to be like a pretty decent amount. It was like 16 and a half miles of trail. That's a lot. Like, oh, wow, there's a lot of trail at Oak Mountain. And there was nothing anywhere else. You rode Oak Mountain and you didn't ride mountain bikes. You rode
Right.
maybe dirt roads. Like I went to Auburn undergrad. Auburn had nothing on campus. There was like a mile at Chewacla State Park. And then there was like Tuskegee National Forest. There was like 7 miles out there. There was just no trail systems in Alabama other than Oak Mountain. It was it, crown jewel, right? And now... It's like waking up and every day is Christmas. We have so much good trail and the new stuff is getting built all the time. And bump right now we have several major projects which we can talk about where there's real money and real trail builders involved to build incredibly cool new trails. But right now, like, so we have 30 something miles at Oak Mountain The number always changes because it depends on sort of what you count as trail, but there's, let's call it like 32 miles of trail at Oak Mountain. We have Trustful, which is a beautiful trail system in the Cobber River, like really beautiful scenic trail, 11 or 12 miles there. Tannehill, which you've seen, beautiful flowy trail around a, war relic.
Yeah.
Also some beautiful water and stuff around there, just beautiful state park. We don't manage it, but a new trail system, Cahaba River Park, which
I was
down
going to
there.
ask about that. We've got my coworker found the flyer for this place, and I haven't been able to check it out, but
Yeah.
shout out to the guys at Redemptive Cycle who I bought my bike from. They were like, Cahaba River Park is awesome.
It is
You got to
awesome.
go there and ride. Yeah.
So did y'all listen to the S-Town podcast? Speaking of podcasts, S-Town podcast, y'all hear that?
I have not. No.
So cool, man. Like, I highly recommend
S-Town podcast.
S-Town. So it's,
Okay.
Serial. Serial was a podcast.
I'll
that got
say
me
it. It's short for Shit Town.
Shit Town
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
Was a guy who was one of the original reporters for Serial. The This American Life people made this podcast, and this dude did this podcast in a place called Green Pond, Alabama, which is the middle of nowhere, Blount County.
Sounds like
S-Town.
Forrest Gump right there.
Green-
It
Greenbow?
is Green Pond. It's whatever you're imagining is 1,000 times crazier than that. But that's where Cobber River Park is. It's where Cobber River and the Shades Creek, which runs like down Lakeshore, that creek, right, the ditch,
Yeah.
where those two things come together is Cobber River Park. They run into each other, and it's in the absolute middle of nowhere. You have to like use a map to find it. It is
Yeah.
drop dead gorgeous, beautiful
Yeah.
trail system, and it's just another one that just popped up. Like it didn't exist, and then 4 years ago it did. And there's
Is
a
it
new-
related to the city of Alabaster? Did they fund it or something?
Shelby County, right?
Or
Yeah,
is
that's
that
still Shelby County
okay?
operated.
Yeah.
I don't
but
know why I
I
thought Alabaster. for
think
some
if
reason.
It's like
you
closer
actually,
to Helena, maybe.
I think if you actually go across the river, and I can definitely be wrong here, but I think if you cross the river, Cahaba River, that actually becomes at some point some part of Alabaster, or you can hit the other side of the park and be on the other side of the river via Alabaster. But yeah, it's huge. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, a really cool spot.
Just gorgeous scenery.
I mean,
And they built like restrooms and stuff. And I
Yeah,
know they have
pavilions.
you can like kayak there. I'm like big into kayaking.
oh yeah,
so really cool.
we love to take the dogs down to the water because it's all walkable, like excluding after heavy rain. I mean, you can go down there. The water's beautiful. Hang out, play in the water. There's like all the Cahaba River lilies and stuff down
Yeah.
there. And
That spot, so like the main road that takes you into it, you drive all the way down that road, and there's a parking area for the trails. But if you keep driving, the spot where Will's talking about, the road goes right into the Cobber River, and it's called
you
the
used
old.
to be able to drive across it.
Yeah, it's called the Old Slab, and it literally is that used to be.
Oh, I've seen video of that. Where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can drive across
You-
it. Do
yeah,
people do that?
I think
like
it's blocked off now,
like
but people
Jeeps
do
and
that.
stuff?
Yeah, there's still a lot of off-roading.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
but-
they actually like blew it up or something.
Yeah, they try to
Oh,
keep people
something.
from crossing it
Okay.
now, because you can straight up drown there. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't do it, but
Oh yeah, if you go after a big storm, it is
raging
raging. Yeah,
white
but
water.
on a nice, just peaceful, sunny summer afternoon, it's an awesome spot to picnic, hang out, take the dogs, play in the water, and just enjoy some sunshine. But that's an awesome spot. Like, I mean, we'll get into like there's so many cool projects going on in Birmingham and the Birmingham area for mountain biking and just being outside. And I mean, we maintain and like promote specific parks because we have agreements with those entities that really hold the property.
Okay. So, like, as far as your relationship with Oak Mountain specifically, you guys, it's not like there's park employees out there maintaining the park, or is it kind of a partnership, or is it mostly volunteers?
It is up until this year, 2022, it has been 100% volunteer.
100%. Okay.
Right now, we could say it's 99.9998.
Yeah,
Us.
Shelby County just hired a good friend of ours, whose job is to like full time work on trails that are within Shelby County, and that's hiking trails, biking trails, horse trails,
All
as
of
well.
it. Yeah.
So he's spread thin already, just because Shelby County is eat up with places to ride and play in the woods.
Eat up.
But eat up.
Eat up with it. They are.
Um,
That's true.
Okay,
But-
so rewind. Like, how do you even start? Do you just send somebody hiking through the woods and it's like, does this make for a good bike trail? You just take off with a shovel and it's like, just hope you find a
Kinda.
good line, or like, how does that?
You consult the guides, and you kind of do that. I mean, it's a little mystical. There is a bit of like voodoo involved, but it's also flags. And there are all these companies that do it now. Like mountain biking has exploded. It's taken off. I mean, it was popular in the early '90s. It kind of died off. Popular again around 2000s. Kind of went down. Pandemic just blew the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Like,
believe it.
Nothing you like. We've never seen anything like it in our lifetimes, and it's just like in terms of sport exploding. There's hardly anything that compares. But there are professionals that do it now. But like for the longest time, amateurs did it, and you all do the same thing, which is you walk in the woods and you're like, what would be cool to ride a
Yeah.
bike? And so there's two concerns. I think that one is like use the land well. Like how can we make this as fun as possible and make people want to ride this as much as possible? Two, it's got to not erode from rain.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all noticed it rains a lot here.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain.
I
Yeah,
mean,
here and there. Yeah.
I'm pumping water out of my basement.
But
right
how
now.
would you know? Like, I would just be out there with a rake and be like, "This is cool."
You can do that,
Yeah.
but then like you do it. So what you learn really fast is you do trail work, and then you come back after it's rained.
It's all gone.
You're like, damn it.
All of that
and
is
you
gone.
see just these paths that water takes through your trail or across your trail. It's like if it goes across, that's great, but if it goes down your trail,
It's kind of just
it's
rutted
great.
out and stuff.
Down the trail
Okay.
turns it into a creek. It's great for a mountain bike, not great for. I mean, great for kayak, not great for mountain bike.
But yeah, it's a wonderful mix of kind of. I've learned how to read topographic maps throughout my journey as a mountain biker and read.
Spirit Quest.
Yeah, it is. And
It is.
We're always looking for where the lines go really close together, then spread apart, and it's like the map with with all the lines on it, and it's like somebody can read this, and there's information here, and you're looking for ridge lines that you can ride across and then ride around, and I mean, but also when we walk through the woods, and I've done it a couple of times since being part of the club, is like you just set off into the woods and look for cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, look at that rock over there. You can either jump off of it, jump up it, go around it, go by it, wave at it. Look at this awesome.
Ride past it, take a selfie in front of it.
Yeah. Like there's rocks everywhere. There's like cool trees. We're working on a trail right now out of Oak Mountain. And we've got this great line, but there's a stand of longleaf pines that are there, and they're endangered or threatened here in our area. So we're like, okay, we have to take that into concern.
Can't just hack down the trees.
You want to cut down on
Yeah.
an endangered tree. That's a
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah,
that's
that'll
fair.
make
Frowns
some
on that.
people upset. Like, so we try to blaze a path through the woods, but we also want to be like really considerate of like where we're going. And there's so many entities that we have to work with and talk with, especially when we're building stuff in Oak Mountain.
Sure.
It's 10,000 acres or more now.
11,000.
I was about to say the new
Yeah.
acclamation of what
Yeah.
was it, like another?
EBSCO property.
How many acres was that?
It's
that
like
just got
over
added?
1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what? So it's expanding? It's
It's
getting
getting
bigger?
Yeah.
Bigger
It was like a
hard.
donation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you're driving down 280, you go over Double Oak Mountain, past Greystone, go up the big hill, go down the hill. Right as you top Double Oak Mountain, to your right there, if you're going toward Childersburg, is the EBSCO Elton B. Stevens Corporation headquarters. Big old like corporate entrance right there. They owned most of that mountain until you got to Oak Mountain.
Wow.
Huge parcel of land. They had like a corporate retreat thing there, cabins, dirt roads. I know this because I snuck in there illegally a lot. You should delete that
My
part.
lawyer always told me
Not
never
to-
record.
Not to admit illegal activity
Yeah.
on a podcast. I'll talk to a lawyer about that. But
I will bleep that out. That'd be good.
just yeah, boop.
All the lawyers that listen to this podcast.
That's right. But it is a stunningly beautiful piece of property, and they just owned it. It was private property. Couldn't get in there unless you snuck in. But it's got dirt roads all over it, and it's the same. If you've ever been in Oak Mountain, there's a hiking trail that goes to a spot called King's Chair, which is this beautiful ridgeline kind of on
Yeah.
the far east end of the park, overlooks this massive, like just forested area. That's the parcel that they just got. So that's not part of the park now. So
What was the incentive to donate the land? Why did they do it?
they weren't using it, and they got a huge tax.
That's what I was gonna say. They probably got a tax cut on that.
Amazing.
There's some financial incentives there,
Yeah.
for
Ooh,
sure.
how can we donate this?
Yeah, and get they get a lot of public goodwill, but they weren't using you own that property. You have some their stuff comes with owning it. And you have to maintain it and keep people from getting killed out there. But
Hopefully they heard about this badass bike club that
they heard
needs
about
to
us. I
build
kind of
some
think it was me and
trails out
Will.
there.
I think
Okay.
that's why. Yeah, I
that
think so
donated.
too.
They're
Yeah.
like,
This
Jacob
guy's
and
got
Will,
big plans,
these
man.
guys.
You give the bump. Yeah.
But man, like I don't know, it's so exciting to think about because Oak Mountain, like I have this picture in my head, and I know Will, like anybody who goes out there, you sort of picture where the trail is, and this kind of this big loop around it. And it's been that way for a long time. And there are these certain features, like here's the big ridge line, this is where all the elevation is, and here's the big lake, and here's this, the big gulch, and all these things. And now we have this huge piece, like the thing got more than 10%
untouched.
bigger.
Yeah.
That's just virgin untouched land.
Yeah.
And it's like it's rugged as hell. It's big and gnarly, like big hills, and there's just nothing out there, no trail out there. So it's like somebody, entrusted us with this gift. Like if you were trying to imagine what is the best scenario I can imagine. So here's 1,000 acres plus of the most beautiful forest land in Alabama that has not been developed ever. Not a single house on it. I mean, there's a couple cabins. That's it.
There were some old houses back like in the days of I think it was history buffs are gonna kill me, all of them that listen to this.
We got a lot.
There's a bunch.
but-
Lawyers.
There's a lot of liars and history people. The Civilian Conservation Corps was key to making Oak Mountain State Park what it is. I'm dumbing this way down, so please forgive me. But there's a lot of roads in Oak Mountain State Park just that got swallowed up by the woods. That existed during the 30s, whether there was like a quarry in Oak Mountain, and now we have a trail called Quarry Road, which is literally an old road that led to a quarry, and it is a trail that's filled with rocks. It's pretty wild.
Seems right.
Heaps of rocks.
Yeah.
But there's also like old sites within the park where there's like foundations for homes from way back in the day when it was purchased.
Man.
And people were kind of moved off that property, and I'm sure they were well taken care of for that. But I mean, we have a trail that's called the Chimneys because you're riding through the woods and you see chimneys just randomly.
Yeah, I know. I know what trail you're talking about. Actually, that's crazy.
In the absolute middle of nowhere, though. You're
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to, like I was saying, when we were working on this new project, it kind of started out like me and some friends were in the woods and realized we're walking down a road, but it has pine trees that are growing out of the middle of this road that are like this wide. And
Is it like a paved road
no,
or just a dirt road? Okay.
It's just an old dirt road, but there's trees growing out of it now. So we're like, man, look at this, and it's like running parallel to this other road that still exists, and we're like, this should be a mountain bike trail. And so a couple conversations later, we've looked at it with some professional trail builders. We've kind of flagged it out, talked to the naturalist, and found a stand of longleaf pine trees that we need to avoid. But we also found some cool rocks, some cool ridge lines, and thanks to a couple of really cool partners like Fox, we're gonna be able to build this thing hopefully this summer. But that's our goal, is to like kind of get inspired by our surroundings, go out there, build cool trails, find cool partnerships with awesome companies that love to support the cause and support the sport.
Did you say Fox?
Yeah.
Fox Racing?
Fox
Yeah.
racing.
No shot.
Yeah,
Yo,
that's great.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fox is huge in the mountain bike world.
Okay,
I
you
guess
said
they're-
that and just kept talking. And I was like, wait a minute, that's
Yeah.
big. That's like
Fox
really
is
big.
huge, man, and they support the
Yeah,
sport like
that's
crazy.
awesome.
I'm gonna say Fox, so like 20 more times Fox.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're really good at the sport, and they put a lot of money into it. And I started on this and got sidetracked, but like
I also put a lot of money into their stuff, so
I
I
have
think
many
we all.
Fox
give it
bikes.
to
I think we all did.
If Fox would like to give us more stuff, they can. We're not going to say no. But but man, like Will was talking about manpower, like work day, like we'll show up and like 30 people will show up, and you're like, all these tools, like God, we're going to get so much done, and we work our butts off. We'll start 8. We'll work hard till lunch, and you improve like a few hundred yards of trail, and it's great. It's good work, but it's just labor intensive. It's just hard
Sure.
work. And so like to build a trail, it's just you have this in your mind like, okay, I'm gonna walk out with a hoe or a rake or something and like scratch the thing out in the woods, and you can do that. But to make it a rideable mountain bike trail that's not gonna wash off the mountain,
Right.
that's not gonna like
Sustainable, yeah.
right
Yeah.
sustain it. And that's the thing, man. That's the word. Is like it's got to be sustainable. If you're gonna spend this money on it,
Yeah.
it's got to last. It takes so much money and effort to build, and you wouldn't think it's a dirt path through the woods, right? How hard could it be? But
We
Yeah.
built a trail last summer. It's called Storyteller, and it's just shy of 1 mile long. It has 500 feet of elevation change. So
it
within
just drops
it's-
right off the mountain.
it basically goes from one of the higher points in the park all the way down. It's just shy of a mile, and we're absolute idiots for trying to do this, but we built it in July.
The
Oh,
absolute
God,
most
man.
miserable part of the summer.
And so this was a long work in progress because we are really pushing the limits of what we are allowed to do. Because we're also trying to like progress the sport and really farm a lot of killer riders from our area.
But not kill beginner riders.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna lawyer up here and just say for the record, Storyteller, if you are a beginner mountain biker, that is not the trail for you. Give it some time,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, go hit lightning instead.
walk it.
That's a good beginner trail.
it's not actually also
That's no, I'm joking.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
yeah.
So nonetheless, a trail that's just short of a mile long took almost 500 man hours to cut. We
Dang.
did it all by hand. There's only one like 20-foot section that we used the excavator on. Everything else was hand cut, and it took almost 500 hours.
hours.
Oh my gosh. So
Now, how-
do you know that going into it? Like after you've mapped the trail, you can say it's going to be this long, it's going to take this much skill, or you don't know till it's done.
You just kind of
Then
start.
you sit
you're like,
back
"Oh,
and you're
let's
like,
just see where it
You're
happens."
optimistic, I think.
We were very driven because we wanted this trail. We drive to Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee. We drive to Asheville, Pisgah Forest, North Georgia to ride trails like this. So it was really important to me and some other riders that we had something here at home that we usually drive 5 hours to go to. And the park finally came around and was like, okay, y'all sound crazy as shit, but have at it. We approve. We'll approve your trail. Get after it. So we're like, oh my gosh, we have approval. We need to build this before they go back and
Think about that. Like,
yeah,
what are they trying to
before
do?
they
Okay.
realize what we're doing. So I hope they don't listen to that. But
They will.
we went through and like literally with hose, we're cutting, benching out shelves, stuff that when we were flagging this trail, you couldn't walk it.
Wow.
You're slipping, falling, rolling down the hill. It was awesome. That's how we knew it was going to be a badass trail. There's these awesome rock features, rock faces. So
I don't think I've ridden that trail. I'm a novice.
So we try to make it hard. I say we. I wasn't around at the time, but they try to make it hard to get to.
Sure.
Which is a natural.
that's
you really
fair.
have to
Protected.
want to find it. It's not
Okay.
even on a trail map yet.
okay.
So it's very limited, but there's
But it's more of an advanced rider trail.
It's the hardest, like the most advanced trail out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the hardest one that
It
we
is
have.
the hardest one, and it's a trail that you really get hurt on if you didn't know what you're doing.
Well, you were mentioning the rock faces and stuff, so I imagine what I see on YouTube,
Will-
like the big rocks. and
Will was
stuff.
talking about the contour lines and where they get close together.
Yeah.
Storyteller is all the contour lines right close together. It just goes straight down the fall.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
but that's what So Will was saying, like people traveling to go to places to have these big mountain experiences. People go to Pisgah or they go to this place called Windrock, which is world-class mountain bikers, world-class downhillers have built this purpose-built mountain bike park in the southern part of Tennessee. There's the experiences where you're just plummeting straight down a mountain. That's the sort of what the equipment lets you do now, and it's really fun if you don't go to the hospital. But
If you
it's
make it to the bottom.
if you make
Yeah.
it to the bottom on your bike,
On your
and
bike,
if you
yeah,
do,
so
you're
on your
just
bike.
buzzing. You're having so much fun.
it's
But
just an incredible.
guys from around the world live just outside of Knoxville to work and practice in this park
This trail.
to compete in World Cup events.
And it's good enough to do that, and that's how good the terrain is. And we don't have the same elevation that the Smokies do, but we have a pretty good bit. And so what you had to have is have the willingness and commitment to say, we're going to build this trail. It's going to be a serious trail for like real downhill mountain biking. It's going to be steep and hard. And
How long has that trail been open?
last summer, right?
Yeah, we.
So this was
officially-
last summer when you guys.
Yeah,
built
we
it?
officially opened it, I think, in early August.
Okay.
Um,
So pretty new. Pretty
Very-
new
yeah.
trail.
yeah, pretty
It's a
new.
new trail out there.
Storyteller. I've heard of it, but you said it's not on a map. So.
A lot of people are
yeah.
still kind of cutting their teeth, but the idea was just to give us something where we can learn, because there's a lot of technique in riding a trail like that, and a huge group of riders around Birmingham travel up north to go ride stuff, and they're riding that style of trail for the first time. I wanted to be able to present that everything you needed to learn in one small package. So you can essentially use this as a training ground
Okay.
to go out and ride. If you can master everything in Oak Mountain, you can master pretty much anything in the world.
Yeah, there's nothing technically you're going to see
that we don't have.
that we don't have.
Wow, that's so cool,
Because
man.
I'm really, really motivated, and I grew up in Montgomery. We did not have
Home of
things-
notorious mountains
Oh,
and mountain
yeah.
biking,
Uh-huh.
right?
Not
Montgomery,
at
Alabama.
all. And that's the problem.
The
That's-
Montgomery scene, you need to step it up, guys.
Classic.
When
the
I-
Mount,
Capital
the Mount
Steps,
Everest
baby.
of Alabama.
Yeah.
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 When I realized that there are high schools here in Birmingham that have mountain bike teams,
Dude, I said the same thing. We see
what?
him.
I almost wanted to cry. I was like,
I wish
wait,
we'd have had something like that. Yeah.
You mean
Yeah,
I
we
missed
didn't have
out
nothing like
on
that.
So fun
We'll
story.
see them. We're out there riding, and you'll just see a big crew of them. They all got the matching shirts on and
and
stuff.
some of them are just
and they're killing it. And they're
just starting.
killing
it.
Some of them are absolutely shredding. You know what? They're going off to college for mountain biking.
That's crazy.
I know. I wish somebody told me that that was possible.
So here's a fun, like if you're listening, you can't see this, but if you're watching, you could see that if we had a fight, if we had like a battle royale in this room, I would lose to everybody.
Kick your ass.
Including the sleeping dog over there. I played high school football, but like I shouldn't play high school football, but I grew up at a time where there weren't many sports, right? If you want to
Right.
play a sport, you just play what you had available.
Is that or
Like,
track? What are you gonna do?
And not
Look like a baseball dude to me.
that, yeah, but I had terrible hand. I couldn't just get hit by
Yeah.
the ball. It's the best thing I could do. But I played football because there was no good sport, and like I wouldn't be one of the college scholarship kids, but I could have had a great time racing mountain bikes. And like I coach a team, Thompson High School. I'm an assistant coach for them, and my nephew's on that team, and so I love helping them. And
Oh, that's cool. It's
It's-
got to be rewarding.
it
No, that is awesome.
super cool, man. It's like the most life affirming thing you can ever do, and it's
Teaching kids mountain biking. That's
Man,
awesome.
they don't need a lot of teaching.
Sure.
You basically show up, so there's an adult supervision, but it is the most amazing
go
thing.
shred.
Well, because they're not scared
Yes,
of anything.
They're
They
not
don't
scared.
care.
Their bones are very flexible. They bounce really good. They're so
They're
motivated.
invincible. Yeah.
But the difference is, like, everybody's had a kid sports experience, whether you played kid sports or you coached or whatever you did. You watched your cousin play, like where you go out and there's a jerk parent screaming at kids, or there's a jerk referee or whatever making it not fun. Mountain biking at a high school level is exactly as fun as it is for us just having a good time in the woods. Is like it's this positive experience. All these kids are ripping it up, having a blast, going super fast. You're like, holy crap, those kids are fast. And they're positive, and like it's an individual sport, but they race as teams because they're high school. So they all they're racing for their school. So they have this motivation. But there's something about it. There's just the good vibe that comes from it. You go to these races and just you feel it come off these kids because they're cheering for each other. Like
Yeah.
every race, some kid will break apart their bike and not be able to finish the race. And so you'll see these kids run in, and the laps are like 3-4 miles long, and they'll break their bike and have to run 3 miles carrying a mountain bike.
Dude.
And you're like, oh my God, that looks terrible. The kids are like coming in, they're sobbing and crying, and kids are cheering for them. They're like pumped, like that's all. And because it is this positive, this feeling around the sport, it's an amazing thing. We, like the statewide, I want to say it's around 700, 750 right now, active racers at the high school level.
Wow.
Sport
Okay.
didn't exist 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 5 years ago.
I didn't know it existed. I'm just now finding this
We
out.
started from zero. It
Yeah.
did not exist, and now it is.
Man.
It could be 800. It's a huge number. You go out, the state championship is week after next at Fort McClellan. You out there will be 4,000 people out there because there's the kids, there's the coaches, the parents. It's the biggest thing in the world. Is as big and legit as any other high school sport, and it did not exist 10 years ago in Alabama, there was no such thing, and now
Right.
it's a thing. But it's this positive vibe. But it's all the whole idea of the sport is it's fun. It gets you in the woods, gets you this experience of nature. But the high school element of it adds this whole different thing, which is like these kids get to compete.
So secretly, or they're not supposed to ride places like Lightning or
Yeah.
Storyteller. For those of you that might not know, Lightning is a trail at Oak Mountain. It was one of the first of its kind. It was a purpose-built flow, like machine trail that has jumps and it's like really fast. It has cool berms and turns, does all this stuff. You go in the air though.
Yeah.
Not allowed on practice days.
Okay.
Not
Not at all. But
Not at all.
me, I built Storyteller because it's like I want a place to practice my like straight down the mountain stuff, but also I kind of want to give these kids a place to like go have fun when they're not doing team practice. So we can have the full quiver of just every kind of trail you can come across in the world is right here. So these kids that are doing this stuff, racing now, like there's middle school teams, there's the high school teams, they're gonna get this awesome experience. It's all found in one spot, like 20 minutes from where we're sitting right now.
Man.
And like my first few work days, like getting looped into this club called Bump when I was like just starting to get into mountain biking, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. They called me in because they thought I could build jumps because I'm an old BMXer. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll come see what you got in the woods. I was like, oh, like mountain bikes are cool. This is neat. Like this could become a thing.
Cool thing.
And like almost 4 years later,
Little did you know.
they
Sucked you
really
in.
sucked me in. God.
Well,
You
dude,
know-
we've got your Instagram pulled up here. Nick was just surfing through some photos, and
Okay.
this photo on the right here with the rock. Where is
It's a
this?
Friday
and
fail,
what is
man.
happening?
All right.
Do y'all know about Friday Fails?
Where I'm about to find out.
I guess
to
about to
find
find
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Friday
I-
Fails is a production
Yes.
done by, I don't know, what is
Pink Bike.
It's a-
Pink Bike is
It's a mountain bike media service, I guess.
Yeah, it started as a magazine, then it became a website, and now it's like a huge thing. They're based out of Vancouver, Whistler, which is a huge mountain bike sort of nexus now. But like they do every Friday, they do a video. It's a compilation of people just eating
Just
it.
eating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a YouTube thing,
That's
I guess.
that's
The
just a
YouTube thing.
screenshot. But yeah.
And this is a guy eating it on our trail. Yeah, that's Pink Bike.
So it's cool, like people from around the country or around the planet actually
Yeah.
like watch Friday Fails. And
that's a fail.
Man, that sounds like
But this
Alex's
is
type
here
of
in-
content.
this
it's
is-
not exactly how we want to promote our new trail, but we'll take it when we can get it.
But man,
And
that's heavy, dude. That's a big old giant rock.
That
right
rock,
there. That
and,
dude's
you know-
falling off of it. For those that are listening, we're
We're looking at a dude falling off a rock
So that's
Yeah.
the
With
with his
first
bike chasing him behind him.
he's parachuting.
He's
Yeah.
kind of.
He's gonna get on his
kinda jumping
feet.
off.
He's
about
not.
to-
I mean, he's probably going to be okay.
I think so. I
It's like
I
10,
get
12-foot drop.
privilege of doing this Instagram stuff, so I'll be in the office in the morning, like hanging out, drinking coffee, waiting for Pink Bike to upload. Friday Fails, it finally uploads. This has happened more than once. I'll be sitting there hanging out, drinking coffee, and I'll do like a spit take. Pff, oh my God, there's our trail again.
That's Oak Mountain.
It's our
And
Oak Mountain's regularly featured.
We keep showing
Okay,
up.
y'all are getting out of hand. Let's start aiming for Saturday Sins
Saturday
instead of Friday
Sins,
Fails.
Saturday Sins is a successful. You tried something hard and you landed
You
it.
landed
That's
it.
that video.
Yeah.
This is not that video.
So, I'm just like, we never know who the writer is, so I always say like, tag your buddy who like made us famous.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't know. Less about that, more about I guess our club and what we're doing.
Well, going back to the trails, you said that you guys have had some professional trail builders come out, and I think Slingshot is a relatively
Slingshot
new trail.
is, yeah.
It's really fun. I've ridden that, and
Cool.
So that's
On-
like new style. What we'd call like a
it's got the berms and stuff.
flow,
yeah.
country because it's cross country, so you have to climb some. There's some uphill.
Oh yeah, the beginning of it's a
Trail-
big climb.
Barry Smith.
Barry Smith. Did
That's
that.
what I was going to say. There's a sign there that has the dude's name that built
Mhm.
that particular trail. So I was curious how often you guys reach out to these national outfits that probably build trails all over the place.
How do we
that
get a
come
heavy
in.
ultra trail? How do we do that?
Heavy ultra trail.
You're gonna want to.
I'll fund it. I don't necessarily want to be there,
We're
but
gonna
you know,
need-
make it cool.
We're gonna need $100,000 cash.
Okay, well, maybe I'll be there
Maybe
and
we'll
let
be
somebody
there.
else pay for it.
$98,000 cash.
But Slingshot, I mean, how much did it cost to build that one trail? It's not super long, but it's a lot of fun.
It's
But-
what, 3.5 miles?
So
like I should
whenever we
do that.
want to build a new trail, we get it flagged out, in our amateur vision of like, hey, this is what we want to do. Then we call in the pros who look at it and they're like, yeah, Will, you did a great job of flagging this trail.
But
This
they
won't
could
work, this
catch
won't work,
things
this
that
won't
maybe
work,
you
this
wouldn't
won't
see.
So,
Okay.
so a couple of different companies bid on that. Usually it's about, depending on the type of trail we're going for, average right now, just with the boom of everything, you're looking at like $7-8 a foot.
Wow.
$7 a foot.
And how's this getting funded? Is this all through donations, or is the park pitching in?
Fox Racing.
Like,
Yeah.
We actually stole money from your house. When
Think
we
you
walked
were.
in.
Okay.
Right, Fox.
So I'm glad you asked how it got funded. That race, the poster that we have right there, is our single biggest fundraiser.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, let's talk about this. There are actually two Instagram accounts: the
Yeah.
Bump official, and then there's the Bump and
Bump and
Grind.
bump and grind.
Bump and
I like
grind.
And I was like, okay, what is the Bump and Grind?
Yeah,
I assume
sorry.
it's a race, and you did bring us a poster here,
So Bump
which
and
is
Grind,
really cool for anybody watching.
Yellowhammer
Check
Creative did that poster, and they are
Yes.
very good artists. They
that
are
out. I think
really
they
good at
also
what they do.
did they create the new logo
They
for you
did.
guys? I saw the shirts
Oh,
that they were
rad.
posting. So
They created this shirt.
Will
for
is our
us.
spokesmodel. And
Well,
it's our official spokesmodel.
They actually made this one for Oak Mountain, but
They
yeah.
made that. That was in the design. They did a bunch of logo work for us. They were sort of concepting some designs, and they did that one. And we are like, that is super
That is
cool.
good. Yeah, dude.
But it's kind of more Oak Mountain
but
than
it looks
is.
like Oak Mountain.
it does, yeah.
And so they printed it. But man, we went to them just with the idea that like our club has this weird yin yang logo from 1990 something. And
yeah, if you scroll down, Nick, you'll see the
old
It's right
boy.
there. That first one. That's the
That's a biscuit.
That's a biscuit, Alex.
Biscuit.
The
Shout out to
the one in
Alex.
the middle.
Shout out to Biscuit. That's
yeah,
the new one.
sick logo. That's awesome, man.
But man, we had this idea that like we needed to change the look and update it, and the Yellowhammer guys just killed it and made this beautiful stuff. But what started that was we needed to promote our race, which is June 4th and 5th this year. It's going to be beautiful weather, not hot, probably
Not
very
hot at all.
mild, 65 degrees,
Oh yeah,
low
nice
humidity,
cool breeze,
cool
coming
breeze.
through.
Sure,
That
yeah.
June breeze.
classic June Alabama weather.
What about the
as we all
humidity?
know and
Let's
love.
talk about that.
Non-existent, 0% humidity.
Zero
Yeah.
percent humidity.
You wear a suit and tie and not sweat. Bump and grind, man. So the race is, like I was talking about earlier, it's got this history to it, but it is a big deal for this club because, we're talking like the percentages. 99% of our money and labor goes into the trails, and this is where the money comes from. Is this race? We need people to show up and race and pay money to race, and so the race does like two things. It appeals to kind of like two different groups of people. One is like people who live in Alabama and what's mountain bike racing. I'd like to get a part of this. And it's an easy place. Like we can go over to Pelham to Oak Mountain and race, and it's easy. And historically, it has been this other thing, which is a recognized race around the country that, hey, Alabama has this really sick trail system that has some great challenging stuff on it, and we can have a big time event here. And so there are these national mountain bike series. They come and go with sponsorships, Fox, but they are all part of the national racing scene, and Bump and Grind is a really good location for that thing because it is accessible. It's not, in the middle of New Mexico. It is a
In the
place
middle
you
of
can
Nevada or Utah
right.
or somewhere.
We're not
Yeah.
6 hours from a major city. We're easy to get to, and we have a really challenging course that is pretty much good year round. Like we can have a good race here, and so we've been on national race calendars before many times. These guys have raced in the Olympics and raced national championships race here. Like right now,
So this is a professional race, or I
we'll
guess
have-
some of the races.
yeah.
are
So we'll
professional.
have a professional category. We'll have some real deal professionals show up, guys who race bikes for a living. We're really lucky to have this kid named Jerry DeFore. Say he's a kid. He's like 25 now, probably.
Jerry DeFore.
Jerry
Shout out
DeFore.
Do for fun rentals.
Do for fun. Yeah, he has an RV company now.
He shreds.
He shreds. He shreds real hard. Jerry was the under
Race
23
car driver.
race car.
Sorry, sorry, I had to.
Kind
Go
of,
fast.
but on 2 wheels.
Onto a really good mountain biker. Jerry was the under 23 national champion.
Jerry was a mountain bike rider. I mean, that kind of flows.
It's a cake song.
Yeah, Primus is gonna do a new
Primus,
verse
yeah, it's
for him.
My dad bought tickets to that. He's going to Primus. That's coming.
Oh, I didn't even know Primus was
They're
coming.
doing a Rush cover. Sorry, this has nothing to do with what we're
We
talking
can
about.
do a whole Primus
But
sideshow.
Dad
I'm
was
fine
like,
with
"Yo,
it.
Primus is coming. You remember Primus?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Primus is opening for Primus." I was like, "Okay, what are you talking about?" He's like, "They're playing a Primus set, and then the end, it's like a Rush cover, and they're playing like that whole."
Oh, dude, I want to go to that. All right, let's get back on topic.
We'll go
We
with
check.
that.
Well, I wanna
Sorry,
talk about-
sorry,
where is
sorry.
it?
We're gonna work in.
We'll talk after.
We're gonna work Primus.
They're
into
actually going to donate and help build another trail.
a new
The
trail.
Primus trail.
I bet Les Claypool rides bikes.
Riding.
I feel like
the
he does.
Sea of
I bet he
Cheese.
does.
Yeah.
Primus is gonna have
Well-
a Winona's trail.
I will say,
The,
you were saying this
My name
Race
is Mud
has-
Trail.
That's-
Yeah.
this race has a ton of pros riding in it, and historically, yes, absolutely. But I will also say that this race is also awesome if you've never
Yeah.
raced before.
That's what I was trying to get. Is we cover kind of both those crowds. Yeah.
Okay, he's the big race guy, and it's why he does what he does in our club now, because he's a big race guy. I'm a big hype man. I just like cheer everybody on. I don't race. I'm not competitive. I just like to go down.
Do you race still?
I race some. It's funny. I spend more time on mountain biking now that I'm involved in bump than I ever have before, and then with the high school team.
Yeah, sure.
And I race less than I ever have before because this stuff takes so much time.
Yeah, okay.
I felt like I got into it because like I want to have mountain bikes in my life more. How can I have mountain bikes in my life more? And I didn't realize it
You
meant
really
giving up
outkicked your coverage with that.
racing. I raced a little bit this year, beginning of the year. There's a race I do every year in North Georgia called the Snake Creek Gap Time Trial, right south of Chattanooga in North Georgia. It's a beautiful, hard mountain bike race, and I've raced a lot. I've raced stage races, individual races, cross country, road. I kind of do a little bit of everything, but I'm always going to be an amateur and love it because it's fun and
Yeah,
it
it's something fun
motivates
to
me.
He's saying amateur very modestly, like
I bet you're
Amateur.
awesome. Like I'm an amateur. Take
My-
me out on the trail. And
my
like,
mom
that's
is-
what an amateur is.
My mom is so proud of me, guys. Okay, I have to tell you, she always will be. But
if you're getting into it, if you want to just dabble,
I was about to say,
see,
can anyone sign up for this?
anybody
can
that's
sign up.
anybody can.
And
And
there's
that's-
different
Sign
routes.
up. Let's
do it.
I'll get you a heavy ultra jersey.
Let's do
You'll
it.
rep heavy ultra.
How do you decide? How do you decide what? Like for someone like me,
We'll
Here's
decide
the
for
question. How would
so
you?
it's an easy choice.
Oh, let's look up here on the screen. If you go to bumpandgrindraces.com and look at the races, it kind of gives
He's
you
there,
a quick
yeah.
preview about what you can do. So
So those
We're
are
gonna
the
Air
horses.
D, Super D,
Kids
cross-
races. Yeah,
kids
you're
races.
covered
Kids.
right over.
Y'all are
it.
going to
That's
be
it.
the kids.
Is there an age limit to that? I'm gonna get in the
So
kids
when
race.
you go to register, it'll ask you which race, and there are various levels. There's the Pro 1, which is the elite or professional category. There's the sport or expert category, which is the category 2, and there's 3, which is beginner. And so if you're a beginner, that's what you race.
All
you're going to be a
right.
You,
cat
buddy.
race, which means you're going to just sprint for like 8 miles. It's not bad.
Easy.
Not bad.
Okay.
Easy.
And you get a
You'll
good
be so
taste.
happy to be done, but it'll be enough.
You'll get a good taste of just like what mountain biking racing is. I always get pre-race jitters, even like
Oh, sure.
like
I
when
bet
I do
everybody
enduro
does.
races and stuff. I always like get really jittery and antsy.
yeah,
But
can
this-
people just
this-
come to spectate too? I guess.
absolutely, and that was where we were going to go next was
Yeah.
with the Super D course. So it's actually a 2-day race, right? So on Saturday we do some really cool gravity-oriented racing. So Super D really goes from the top of the hill down to the parking lot. Oh,
Okay.
there it is.
See all those topographic lines up
Oh,
there?
yeah, those are our topographic
We
lines.
cross right
So-
over those things.
So is that the top? Or is that the start?
Green
Or-
dot.
Green dot is the start.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you ride along the ridge line there, take a hard left, and you go down this really fun thing called Blood Rock.
Blood Rock.
Yeah.
Blood
I've
Rock.
done Blood Rock a long time ago. I don't know how I stayed up.
Cool.
It sounds intense,
It-
man. I think
it-
I've seen
I haven't
photos
been on
of
the
it and stuff.
mountain in, like 5 years and went with 2 people with Niners, full suspension, like $3,000 mountain bikes, and I'm on a hard rock from 04 and just.
Ah, yeah.
Just graced it.
There was like 3 seconds where I didn't touch the ground, and that was the best part of Blood Rock because my bike wasn't vibing.
You may have a latent, like, natural ability to be a professional mountain biker. You've never identified.
Didn't even know it.
I was
You might.
naturally good at it. I don't know if I can get back into it. I just broke my collarbone.
Oh yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I can't. I'm not gonna say that. No.
Everybody
Backpedal.
does.
Let's not jinx
So could you
yourself.
do people spectate
That's
on
the-
the trail?
At Blood Rock, that's like the center stage of spectating.
Okay, so
for
where's the
fun.
best spot on Blood Rock where
Blood Rock
everybody
is about
gravitates?
as big as like
This room.
yeah, it's not very long, so everybody crowds in right
Yeah.
there because that's where all the
Is it just like a steep downhill rocky section? I guess that
It's
everybody-
basically it's a waterfall that's been diverted, and
Dude.
so where the trail goes is the rock that the stream carved out, and so
I
we
feel like
moved-
I've seen a video of it, and
You
it may have
definitely have.
rained, and there was like water, and it was muddy, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, these guys are ballsy.
It's-
there's
it's a
you know, like
cool
50,
section. So that
60 people out there, hundreds and thousands, really, actually.
10
Oh, yeah,
million
yeah,
people
Nobody can
spectating.
fact check me.
1 million.
1 million
Bass drums and tubas and
Cowbells.
chainsaws,
Cowbells.
all everybody's shooting and
Chainsaws.
hollering.
It's a
and
fun scene. It is. So that
everybody
purple
just
line,
cheers.
the purple line up there is the Peavine Road. That's the road. If you drive
Okay.
it into Oak Mountain and you come up the hill,
It starts at that overlook there.
right where that overlook, where everybody stops and takes pictures, that's where that race is going to start. And it's a really short downhill race, but that's on Saturday, and it gives people a chance to come out and, like, Saturday is fun. We have a short downhill race. That one, we have a short track race, which is very, very short, like 25-minute long. It's actually timed instead of distance, where you're racing this like short trail right around the South Trailhead parking lot, which is the main parking lot at Oak Mountain, and you're making laps. And the whole idea is like people are going wide open, short distance. They're all racing together. You can watch them. Here they come, like every 2 minutes. And so there's a lot of hype around that. That's fun just to see these guys going wide open as fast as they can. There's no pacing. It's not like, oh, I got to save something. It's all out. 25 minutes, all you got.
And
So
you
we-
can see the whole thing.
You see
Is
the whole
that
thing.
the same as what like the Hammerfest and what you see it happens in downtown
It's the
Birmingham?
dirt
Like, it's just like a
equivalent.
circle.
So Hammerfest is a criterium, which is a road race, which makes laps. It's the same idea, but
just
mountain
on
bikes.
dirt. Okay, okay.
And a little shorter because we're going to ask these guys to race 3 times in one weekend. So they're racing for an overall sort of points race. The big race is the cross country, which is on Sunday. That's the big long distance race, 22 miles. But then on Saturday, they do that downhill that we were just looking at, which is very intense, wide open, hard downhill. And then they do the short track race, which is like the circuit race where they're flying around for 25 minutes as hard as they can go. Then they got to turn around and get up on Sunday morning and go race really, really hard for 22 miles.
So the 22-mile race, what
Buddy.
is that? Just the entire park?
That's
Yeah.
a classic
Buddy, look
Oak
at
Mountain
that.
Loop right
Big-
there.
that's the
Almost
big boy.
classic. And we're actually using our new trail Slingshot. for the
Slingshot's
first
in
time.
there.
Oh, it's going to be part of the.
Yeah.
Is
Slingshot's
that
gonna make
road
it
that
hard.
goes to Slingshot? Is that considered part of the trail?
So it used to be, and it's out. So that's the whole point,
Oh, you see the purple line?
Yeah.
Big Camp Road.
So Group Camp Road is what the race used to do. It used to go from the green dot
I gotcha.
and take the road. Now Slingshot is the yellow line that's kind of above to the right of that road.
Cuts
and
through it.
that's the whole idea of Slingshot was turn, this is the trail system, turn the trail or turn the one part of the trail system that is a road into trail. And so that's what that does. It takes you off of that road. But it makes the race a lot harder because
Well, you'd be going the other way. I mean,
you're still going basically the same direction, but you're, instead of being on this nice gentle dirt road where you're just like spinning along up the road, you're doing that trail, which is a much more difficult walking trail.
Which our club paid for 100%.
Wow. Okay.
So
Really fun.
Volunteers.
Yeah, we fully funded that project, and at $7 a foot, it was
Pretty pricey to do the math. there.
5,280 times 7 times 3. Math.
So-
hard.
our club membership voted. It was honestly the first trail that Oak Mountain has added, and
It's
Years.
been a while, man. My
Years.
dad, he kind of, when we got back into biking, I was like, I don't know what got me the bug. But I was like, I'm gonna get a bike. We got to get back into riding, and he hadn't ridden it.
He
in a few
definitely
years.
kick-started it again for this family.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah,
our dad has always been, he's always had us outdoors, mountain bikes, bicycles, dirt bikes, skateboards, whatever. But as we got older, we kind of fell out of it.
But what was cool was when he got up there, started coming to the park more, and started seeing all these new trails. He's like, man, for the longest time riding here, it was always the same thing.
Yeah.
And now they're like, you guys are investing in new trails, and I guess with all the land that's now been acquired, how many trails are there total currently at Oak Mountain?
It depends on kind of how you count them, I guess. I always go by mileage because I think like
Mileage.
how many unique miles, and there's like
See, he's a
You
miles
said, like,
guy.
32
He's a miles
miles, or-
guy. He's miles. I'm smiles.
Okay.
I also like smiles, but I also like suffering. It's a weird. Let's not get into
Yeah,
that.
he has a weird condition.
Yeah,
but
I do.
I mean, there's a dozen trails at Oak Mountain. We'll say that.
Okay.
There's
Sounds right.
and there's official names, and then all the trails have like their little extra like local names.
Sure.
But I keep saying like everybody's watching this, but there's a lot of trails at the bottom of the mountain and kind of on the bench that you can kind of ride that are super intro. Like we led a group this past weekend with another club from Florida, actually. Some guys had like literally just bought a bike
Okay.
like a month ago.
It's my first day.
Yeah, some of them.
What's
it
a
was
good trail?
We took them on first day rides, and then other people were seasoned veterans. There's something at Oak Mountain for everybody, is what I'm getting at. So you can.
Oh, it's
you
a
can-
gym, man.
You can get up on top of the mountain. You can ride down below, and we're just trying to create the ultimate Swiss Army knife of mountain biking trails, and the place has it, and we're having a lot of success, and we're just generating more and more interest. We have so much support from, outside clubs, the Shelby County, City of Pelham, just like our membership. Our club is almost as big as it's ever been, maybe bigger. We're approaching 300 members.
Wow.
Which is killer.
Dues paying members, people show up and are invested. Like not to get on a crazy kumbaya moment here, but I do think it's cool. Like,
Bring out the guitar.
yeah, can somebody play? Get your
I
lighter.
got one upstairs. Yeah.
Just strum some chords
Actually, no, I
and just
don't own a guitar.
I was about to say, no, you don't.
get one.
I don't-
Somebody go
I
get a
don't play
guitar right
guitar.
now.
Yeah.
Here, my biggest pitch for mountain biking, especially mountain biking on public land, which this is, like, we're taxpayers. You have this nice home here. We all pay a bunch of taxes, and we always wonder, like, man, our roads suck. Our schools are 49th out of 50th. Like, what are we paying all these taxes for in Alabama? The thing you're paying taxes for in Alabama that's pretty freaking cool is that you have a gem of a state park. And, if you live in Birmingham, you have this beautiful resource that you can go, and you don't have to be a member of a country club. I mean, if you are, congratulations, but you don't have to have any membership. This is your property. And, like, to me, that's the coolest thing about Bump and what it is like, we're volunteers. We're volunteering for this thing that nobody owns, like everybody owns. It's a public thing where we can all go hang out. There's a beach out there, people from every culture, religion, nationality, ethnicity that you can imagine are at that beach, every single day. And this is not a private space. You don't have to be rich and go on vacation. You can come here. If you got $5, you get in the gate. And it's like, I love the idea of Bump, like, and what Will and them did with Storyteller, which is that red line on them. Is that the red line?
The one with the skull and crossbones.
No, it's actually
Oh, that's Boulder. It's not even on there.
go a little bit further right. No, it's there.
Is it there?
It's the black one.
It should
There
be
it
red.
is.
The double black diamond right there.
It
That's
should be. Yeah, red is
There
their
it is.
Storyteller.
It looks
Uh,
pretty tame right there.
Yeah, it's that. Does,
I don't-
that graphic's lying to you. But like what that does is it gives, Will was saying earlier, it gives these advanced riders a place to go. But man, we see all the time like 5-year-olds on bikes out there, and kids on the little Strider bikes that don't even have pedals. It's this cool place, and I always get the best vibe out there, especially on like busy kind of holiday-ish weekends. You go out and you have hardcore. I was talking about Jerry earlier. Jerry's a national caliber rider. Jerry has raced mountain bikes in Europe at the highest possible levels. And then you got scrubs like me. And then you got people who are beginner mountain bikers, and we're all out there riding the same trails. And it's the most egalitarian sport in that way. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It can be an expensive thing to get into. The more you get into it, the more money it costs. Mountain bikes are stupidly expensive on the high end, but you can go buy a bike for a few $100 and get out there and ride, and have the same like powerful experience being in the woods on dirt that everybody has. And you pursue whatever interest you got. You want extreme downhill, we have that now. You want beginner trail, we got that too. But I love the fact that we're able to make this park something that's for the state of Alabama. Like, this is our thing, man. Like, we all own a share of this. And so I get the sense of like, that's why I think motivated by what the club does, because it is very much of like, we own a little piece of this thing. Y'all do too.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
man. I think one of the coolest things, being at Oak Mountain and just riding is just looking at all the license plates.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like, man, there's people from all over the country that are coming here to ride.
Yeah.
A lot of the vans like yours, it's modded out camper vans and stuff, and people that just basically live on trail and just hit all the different parks and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is pretty cool if you're kind of out of the loop to think this is just right here in our backyard.
I've run into these guys 2 or 3 years in a row now that are from the upper peninsula of Michigan, which you should look at on a map sometime. It is so far north. It is like farther north than a lot of Canada. It like juts north into like above the Great Lakes. These dudes come to Oak Mountain every year in December.
Yeah.
Because it is, Arctic conditions up there.
Yeah, but it's still tolerable here, man.
Oh, it's
they come
nice.
down.
Dude, I love living in the subtropics. This is great.
It's so nice.
It never
And
really gets super cold.
My favorite month to ride mountain bikes is January. It's so nice at Oak Mountain.
Yeah, you're warm, you're exercising.
Yeah.
Stuff, so.
What's that?
You can see because there's no trees.
Yeah, yeah. You see
Oh,
all
yeah,
this stuff
yeah.
you don't normally see because the leaves are down. You see all the rocks and stuff, and the woods are usually a little less crowded. There's not as many people out there, but you go into the woods and like 5 minutes of riding, you're hot. You're generating all the heat you need. And I run into these dudes, and last year I want to say there was like 16 or 17. They come from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to Alabama. They drive down here to ride at our trail system 4 or 5 days in a row, and they're like, we love it. It's cheap. Like we find a nice place to stay. The hotels and the trails are incredible and they're great shape. And we're gonna go back home. We're not going to ride for 4 months.
God. That's terrible.
But people come from all over the country. It's unbelievable. There's we talked about Pisgah National Forest, which is legendary for a good reason. Amazing place to go ride and just to be outdoors, which is in sort of western North Carolina,
I'm not
Brevard
familiar.
area.
Okay.
Incredible area. Beautiful rivers and really, really huge, rugged, just sort of southwest of Asheville. Pisgah is kind of like the East Coast mecca of mountain biking. And one of the best shops in Pisgah is this place called Sycamore Cycles. And Wes Davidson, who owns Sycamore Cycles, takes his entire crew, shuts down his whole shop, and brings his whole crew to Alabama to ride Oak Mountain for several days during November before their Christmas rush starts, because up there the trails are all getting wet and cold and soggy and nobody can ride, and they come down here and ride. And they're like, it's just great. We just love it and can't get enough of it. So, it's cool and gratifying, I think, to see the quality of the trails and the quality of the people that it attracts. But I mean, if you look on the map, like we've touched a pretty small part of that park. There's still so much more land, especially with this new stuff, that we hadn't even touched yet. There's just, it feels like endless potential out there.
Yeah, definitely. And I would assume, I was kind of scrolling the socials earlier. You guys look like you've ridden kind of all over the country, different places. It was surprising to me for you to talk so much about the type of terrain that we have, because just looking at, I follow this dude. He does like Follow Cam Fridays, Nate Hills.
Nate
Nate Hills.
He's awesome, man.
Nate's
and
awesome.
and all the places he
Absolutely.
rides, I'm like, dude, I'm so jealous, man.
Yeah.
He's out there in Utah or Arizona, and like
stuff
it's
is
wide
wild.
open, and he's got like there's no trees, so he can set his drone up just to follow him. So he's getting all this rad footage, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, I wish we had something like that, but I don't know. It's cool to hear that we
It's
have
it's
some
tough
really
to
cool
do the
stuff.
drone things. I've been with
Crash into a tree.
been with guys that try, and there's those drones try to follow the mark on your bike or on you or whatever, and they just seize up because there's so many trees, and that's also what's fun. It's like
Yeah.
you're threading the needle between trees, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like you'll clip some of them every now and then, and feel like you're about to lose a finger, but
Yeah.
it's all good. But that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah,
is
it's a different challenge.
Where like in the super tight, dense woods that. You don't
But
really
if you hit it like you said, we kind of hit it before spring, and then it was so cool to actually you could see the terrain and you could see the hills and stuff, and so it made it feel more open. I was like, this is rad, you know.
My personal sort of view of like timing and riding is like the best months are like January, February. That's my favorite time, and then I kind of feel like I ride into May and June. It gets pretty hot.
Sure.
July and August are the months where I probably don't want to ride mountain bikes too much in Alabama, which is when they built Storyteller last year.
Let's go work on mountain bike trails.
Let's go build them. Let's go lift rocks.
Yeah, let's go try to find as many snakes as we can.
And July and August is when I want to go be out where Nate Hills is, and
Yeah.
you go ride. Nate's awesome. He's a factory Yeti rider and a world class mountain bike rider, and you can see it in the video. He makes it all look easy.
Yeah,
but
it makes
it's
it look
not
so easy. It's crazy the technology that cameras, because you see his handlebars and they're just doing this.
Yeah,
and
it's
his camera's
just
like nice
perfectly-
and smooth.
steady
And it's
cam.
like, dude, I don't understand how your bike's not like breaking in half, because he's just doesn't
It's-
even look fun. Some of the trails he's on, it's so rough and there's so many rocks.
It's so wild going back to like the early first days of mountain biking, which were like 30 years ago,
Yeah.
versus the machines that we have now. Like talking about Fox and just talking about like bike design and just technology. Dude, the bikes are insane. So
They're
like
so good.
What do you guys ride?
Kind of different. So, are your bikes 2.9 or 27.5?
so I ride a Santa Cruz Bronson. It's a 27.5
27.
size wheel.
Okay.
And then
Is that the most common,
It's a diameter.
the diameter of the wheel? Is
think
that the most common
2.9er.
size that people ride nowadays?
I'm gonna claim 29 inches. Is it? It feels like it's
so
most,
they say 27.5 is the party size and 29 is business, but it just depends
Okay.
on what kind of business you're trying to
it's
do.
the size of the wheel.
For those of
So
us
could
that
you
don't
do
know.
business in the front, party in the back?
You
Maybe
can.
27 to
You
29.
totally
That's-
can.
that's
People
the
do that.
thing.
It's called a mullet.
Oh,
Absolutely.
It's called a
Totally.
mullet.
It's a
Literally
mullet
a
bike.
mullet.
What do people set those bikes up to do? Like big downhill bombing or what?
So I'm going to make some huge generalities
Okay.
here. Huge, but smaller. Generally speaking, smaller wheel sizes are more fun. Bigger wheel sizes are faster. That's a huge generality. But the idea is a smaller, like picture a gyroscope. Like that's the thing that keeps you on a bike. You spin a wheel, it wants to stay upright. If you move it, it's going to push back because that gyroscopic force, right? The bigger the gyroscope, the more force. So a bigger gyroscopic wheel, 29-inch wheel, rolls faster, stays upright better,
Goes over junk.
goes over and holds speed. And so if I'm doing a cross-country race, point A to point B as fast as I can go, a 2.9er is a little faster.
So that's the jargon, a 2.9er.
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 Two
All
Down
right.
here in South, bud.
Learning something every episode.
2.9er. You're going to use the language and you're going to have so much credibility now. 27-inch wheels, less gyroscopic effect, but also a little less weight, also much more maneuverable. So when you're doing big jumps, which terrify me, which Will loves, I mean, those are fun. They're awesome, but you're also that guy who...
I was eyeing that.
That was
He's
it. Yeah,
missing some skin
what
over
happened
there.
Took a
was-
little spill.
Will was showing me...
cocky yesterday.
Will was showing me the picture of a guy riding with him yesterday who one of his feet points the wrong direction now.
Oh gosh.
Okay. well,
Yeah. It's not like his leg is like
That's
this and his
okay.
foot is
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
all right.
Yeah, you get it. 27 fives. So it's a little smaller, makes a huge difference in how maneuverable the bike is in the air, how easy it is to get off the ground, how quick you can move it side to side. And so the trail's a little more dynamic, they have more jumping involved. Those bikes work better. All of those bikes, like everybody grew up riding 26-inch bikes. That was kind of the thing. And then Gary Fisher, who's one of the pioneers of bikes, was like, bike wheels are too small. Make them bigger. And he made them bigger. And we're like, oh, yeah, Gary Fisher was right. They roll way better.
So that's like the standard now. Is
that's the
27?
standard.
Okay.
The bigger 27 or 29.
27, 29. It's
The whole idea is like if you go to Oak Mountain, there's roots and rocks everywhere,
Yeah.
right? That's just our terrain. The bigger, it's the same thing. Picture a monster truck tire versus a little Honda Civic tire. The monster truck tire rolls over stuff better. The bigger diameter tires just roll over stuff. And so as wheels have gotten bigger, mountain bikes are just easier to ride over bumpy terrain. You don't notice it as much You go
Yeah.
faster, you have more fun.
Well, we have a lot of trails that are pretty old at Oak Mountain, and so a lot of erosion is happening. Roots are
Grow.
growing.
Yeah.
Rocks are growing and getting taller, and that's something that we have to deal with as a club. Is like, okay, how do we maintain that erosion, that natural happening? A lot of people are riding new trails all the time because the sport is blowing up and going crazy. So every city, Knoxville, Atlanta, Huntsville, everybody's building new trails. We have one of the oldest trail systems in the area. So a lot of folks come to,
One of the oldest in the and this is not exaggeration, one of the oldest in the country. Like our core trails are some of the oldest in the country.
Wow.
so they're like, man, like these trails they weren't so rooty 10 years ago. So like, well, yeah, duh. Like,
They were 10 years younger.
Yeah.
I wasn't as gnarly as I am now 10 years ago.
so that's a fun thing to kind of consider when we're riding at Oak Mountain versus a younger trail system like Tannehill,
Where it's just maybe smoother overall.
smoother, or a new trail like Slingshot.
Yeah. Like Slingshot, yeah.
I mean, when that thing was first built, you could almost rollerblade down the thing. It was nuts. It was super fun.
Will's a big rollerblader.
big.
Big rollerblader.
outdoor rollerblades.
I didn't think you were gonna out me like that.
Sorry, buddy.
But it's it's wild to see just how, whether it's wheel size, bike preference, trail preference, there's so much in mountain biking, and that's part of what I want to show as like a member of Bump and like our club is like there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
While we may go on a bike ride together, like I'll ride his stuff, and there's been times when the dude is almost
I'll try
killed
to
me.
ride. I'll try to ride his stuff. I just can't.
I try to ride as long as he can, and I can't. It's just like, it's wow. I super respect you for like wanting to ride 20 miles. I don't.
Just don't have anything better.
I like to like have a beer before, during, and maybe after.
Yeah. That's
Definitely-
that's our style of riding,
Definitely
for
after,
sure.
maybe during,
Maybe
possibly
during.
before.
That can happen.
We were with a group the other day, and they're like, yeah, like we just want to ride like the locals do. And somebody said, I think it was my wife actually, she was like, well, go get the truck, we're shuttling up to the top. Like,
Take a
don't
ride.
even pedal up to the top of the mountain, just drive the truck up there and then ride down.
I knew that when I got a bike, I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ride in the woods. I wasn't too interested in like riding on the street and stuff or getting a road bike per se.
Yeah.
It is fun, but I just knew I would have more fun like riding trails and
Yeah.
stuff. But you were kind of telling me about. You said you do like a ride on Tuesdays with you guys or something?
Yeah. So, I mean, Bump is all about mountain biking, and it's a mountain biking organization. A lot of people's entry into the bike world, it comes through the road, at least historically, and everybody has heard of Lance Armstrong and sort of the effect Lance had on bikes. That got a ton of people into bikes that are my age, that, hey, we got a guy who's the best in the world. And it turned out that was a complicated story, but
Lance.
A little bit.
Man, let us
them
all
yellow-
down.
Got them yellow bracelets. I still have
Everybody-
one.
Those live
Freaking-
strong.
It's in a drawer. Yeah. But man, it's the sports roots, the weird tight pants people that built the trails at Oak Mountain, the first Bump people, the people that started this club, their roots were in road biking, and road biking is where the sport came from. And man, road bikes are a different animal, and you see a lot like the best mountain bikers often train on the road a lot. It's easier to get more mileage on the road. The road bikes, especially modern road bikes, just like modern mountain bikes, they're so good. They're incredibly good at doing what they do, which on a road is being efficient and going fast. And an average cyclist on a road bike who knows what to do and can pedal can easily ride 20 to 25 miles an hour on the road, which doesn't sound fast. It is really fast. Go ride in your car at 25 miles an hour and jump out. Promise you, it feels
Yeah.
really fast.
You
It's
get
not
worked, man. If you've hit a
You
twig or something,
it would tear all your skin off.
Oh,
But modern road bikes let you do that, and riding in a group. So you're asking about this ride like Tuesday, and I'm sorry to everybody that lives in Irondale and Leeds. You've seen us where there's a
Do
bunch
y'all
of
go
us.
up over the hill next to Home Depot and stuff?
So we don't. That's on Crestwood Boulevard. We missed that. So we kind of work our way through the neighborhoods. We cross 78. We hit.
Because there's another big group that does that.
Yeah.
I did get stuck
You've seen
behind
them.
I'm like, come on,
there's
guys.
so many of them. There's two big groups. Tuesday is like the traditional group ride day because it
Okay.
just fits in the right time in the week. But the ride that I do, we call it Tuesday Worlds, which is short for the Tuesday Night World Championships. which is the Tuesday Night World Championships of Birmingham, Alabama. Like nobody cares, but we treat it like it's the most important bike race that's ever existed in the world, and it's every Tuesday, and it's 60 or 70 of the fastest people in Birmingham trying to kill each other, and you just ride real hard. And what happens on a road bike is something that doesn't happen on a mountain bike, which is you get in a group, and as people are riding in the group, the hardest thing to do on a road bike is defeat wind resistance. The wind that you hit, driving your car at 30, stick your head out the window, and wind is like knocking your head back.
Yeah.
Same thing on a road bike. But on a road bike in a group, if you're drafting, picture NASCAR, the people behind you are doing half the effort you are, maybe less than half, like 40% of the effort you are. So a group on the road can go insanely fast with not a lot of effort. And so our group rolls out of town, like when we hit Crestwood Boulevard, Highway 78 in Irondale, and sort of head out of town, the hour or so that we're in like the race pace, that's about 27 miles an hour. And we do a ton of climbing, but it's just flying because you're in this huge group of fast guys. And so road biking has this cool thing, which is you can go so fast under your own power. And it is like nothing I've ever experienced. Like I've done road races where you're in a big group of guys a lot stronger than me, and I'm hanging on for dear life, but I'm in the group, so I'm sheltered from the wind, and the group is cruising, going easy at 30 miles an hour.
Dang.
And
wow.
then you sprint, you're doing 45 miles an hour, and you're like, this is too fast.
This is too fast.
This is too fast.
Dude.
But you can do it, and it's not that hard. I mean, it's something you have to kind of learn how to do, but any reasonably fit adult could do it, and it feels amazing. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced.
So do you have to alternate people in front? Does the guy
Yeah.
up front know he's doing all the work?
they're
Oh, he
like
knows.
Canadian
Everybody
geese.
knows. And they're all, what's that?
They're like Canadian geese.
Yeah, it is. We're exactly, no. That's exactly right.
flying V,
Canadian geese are doing the echelon. We're doing that.
Mighty
We're the
Ducks.
Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
We're the Mighty Ducks. But no, you rotate. It's called a rotating pace line. And the reason it rotates is like you come through, you do your turn, you pull the group, and you spend your time on the front. You spend as little time as you can in a race mode to get off the front. That's how road biking works. And that's why we ride in groups. The other reason we ride in groups is like if we're all strung out single file, the group is much, 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 much longer.
Sure.
If we're two apart, the group is halved, right?
You can get to relight all at once.
Right.
Yeah.
And cars can get past us. It's still, though, like road biking has gotten worse. And the reason it's gotten worse is cell phones. And I do it. We all do it. You got your phone in your hand, like, oh, don't, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Distracted drivers are killing cyclists in record numbers. It's just not safe on the road.
Oh, man, dude.
It's one of the reasons I've moved more, and a lot of riders are moving more towards the mountain. It's like trails are better than ever, bikes are better than ever. Road bikes are still cool and fun, but it's harder to ride them and enjoy it the same way. I can go ride at Oak Mountain. Nobody's going to hit me with a car.
Yeah, I'm
Nobody's
not
gonna
going to
yell
get hit
at
by
me.
a bus. Yeah.
Nobody's going to scream at me and
Woods.
tell me to get off the road. You're not Lance Armstrong. I know I'm not Lance Armstrong. I just want to ride a bike. But, road is cool. I love it. It still has a ton of appeal. It is an amazing sport when it's done right. And there, Alabama, again, we have great terrain for riding bikes. But it for me, the mountain has become like the predominant of the two sports. Mountain biking, I think, is experiencing this growth. And, the pandemic hit both sports at the same time, road bikes and mountain bikes. Mountain bikes took off for a reason because the equipment is good now. There's more places to ride than ever now. And it does not present the same things. Picture yourself, having a kid who's 12, 13, 14 years old is like, hey, I want to do something. Baseball canceled, football's canceled, school's canceled.
Sure, yeah.
What can I do? Well, go ride this bike out in the woods.
Man, I remember March 2020, the weather was phenomenal.
It was so good.
I went out and, much to the behest of some folks, I went out and almost rebuilt a trail out at Oak Mountain just because I had the time to do it. And people freaked out because I just made all the jumps bigger and made it faster and made it cooler. But the reason,
where's that cell phone? Y'all hearing that? Maybe that's your phone on the same place. I don't know. I was hearing like a cell phone
I heard that
noise.
too.
I heard it for a second. But what I love about mountain biking is I'm in control of everything.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm not in control of is the squirrel that runs out in front of me.
That's what I was about to say. That bird that flies in front of your face.
Oh, that rattlesnake.
I've-
Whatever.
Or rattlesnake.
Have you had a squirrel?
Man, I have not. I had one
It's
try
really
to
upsetting.
kill me on a
You
road
hit
bike
a
last
squirrel
night.
on your bike?
Yeah,
Really?
I've
Super
hit
upsetting.
squirrels.
Woo, man.
I didn't like run through your spokes and
Fortunately, I haven't done that.
Man,
horrifying.
I don't want to get into the gory details of what happened to
Okay.
that squirrel.
Oh, man.
But
That's sad.
I've hit a squirrel, and one night actually we were out at Oak, and some friends and I were doing a little night ride, like after the time changes.
Have you ever done
Whoa.
a night ride before?
Hopefully we're not.
No.
Hopefully we're not having to do that.
Man, night rides
You
are
know,
cool. Though.
we keep the time change, or we don't change the time.
we're changing. That's right. We don't do.
We're changing
not-
the time change.
We're changing the time change.
Okay, you-
There's
What are you
time
talking about?
So this year, we're on daylight saving times. We sprung forward. We're not going to fall back next year.
Yeah, they
We're
like
just staying.
Oh,
ahead.
Alabama's
the
not going
people
back.
We're not gonna
decided.
the
Yeah,
whole country.
we're done, baby.
What?
We're
I didn't
finally
know
gonna
You didn't
be on
hear this?
Arizona
No.
time.
Yeah.
Where have I been? Oh, my God. No more daylight savings.
No.
We're done with it.
Do I?
You just made my day.
How did
I'm
I
so
not
happy
know that?
I could bring that to you.
I'm an
Yeah.
idiot.
So this
Well,
is the
thank
only
you.
thing-
Yeah, that's cool.
So what's
Only good thing Congress has done maybe in the last.
I love it because
10 years.
I love it.
But there's
because-
some states that don't observe it.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Arizona
already.
Like
doesn't-
Arizona hasn't.
They're like, F y'all.
Mexico.
What's
not
going to
doing it.
happen is it's going to be real dark in the morning when we get up.
Yeah,
like
but the
8.
daylight will stay.
But the
longer.
daylight will stay. You'll get off work and you'll have some daylight.
And there have been people though that were like, "No, we're against this. We can't stand for this change." Like, are you kidding me?
You know why the law was that
Don't-
way? They set the time zones originally so farmers could get up and have daylight in the morning to get the crops. And we don't. I don't.
That's
do you
what
farm,
I heard.
Do you farm a lot?
I ain't
Yeah.
no damn farmer.
farming.
Just give
You
me
guys
my
have
time
never-
back.
You
Yeah.
guys have never done trail work before.
I mean,
No, I haven't.
in the summer we want to get up early, but man, in the winter, like you get off work, you
want
do whatever
daylight.
you want to.
Yeah.
Give me some daylight.
I will.
man.
I will happily sacrifice the morning daylight for
Everybody
for evening
would.
daylight.
But-
Clearly, we're doing it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But
Mountain biking at night is cool.
we were riding at night, and we came across a family of armadillos, and like there were like half a dozen of us that were dodging these armadillos that were crisscrossing the trail, and it was
like something
just
out of Mario.
absolute mess. Yes,
A
it
little
was.
armored.
Little armored, yeah. Shell.
One of my buddies. Do you know Omar Fraser?
Mm-hmm.
Omar is a pretty well known mountain biker in Birmingham. He's a phenomenal athlete and he's very very good at everything he does. He was a collegiate swimmer, but got into mountain bikes. He's very very good at mountain bikes. And Oak Mountain was part of a race series called Xterra, which was a like Ironman but off road. So it was a trail run, swim in the lake, mountain bike, and Omar was a very very good because he was a collegiate swimmer. He was very very good Xterra. He was racing a lot, very very fit, and he was training at Oak Mountain and doing an early morning training ride, putting in some crazy miles. Being Omar going really really fast, and he was finishing up his ride, bombing down a hill back to the parking lot, and gets blindsided by a deer.
I knew you were
And
going to say
the deer smoked him, like broke a bunch of bones.
that.
Like
Oh, I bet.
you don't think about it, but deer, there's a lot of mass. Deer's like
Oh, it's like getting hit
NFL.
by a motorcycle or something.
Yeah, I mean, an angry motorcycle with horns.
Dude, I didn't even think about the horns. God.
Yeah,
Well,
I
just
don't.
their forehead is
They're just solid
like a brick.
bone, but
If it's
that's not,
if it's a buck, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Or any deer, but
just wrecked them. But
that sucks.
we share
Shout out Omar. Hope you're doing
shout
all
out
right.
Omar. Shout out deer.
Shout out deer.
How's that deer doing? I'd like to know.
So as far as the man hours go, we talked a lot about that. Do you guys do like, are y'all out there once a week, once a month? Do y'all have like, how do you do the work days and how does that work?
Can
How
I
much
plug
time
the
do you
next
spend?
work day, May 21st?
May 21st, come out to Oak Mountain, go to the South Trailhead. We meet
8 a.m.
we meet at about
We made it at 8.
8 once a month, generally, but usually we're somebody in our like core group. So we have a group of certified like chainsaw operators who's out at the park almost all the time. I mean, anytime the wind blows, you
I was
can
about to say, there's
it
trees down. They just report it, and the park calls you guys. Hey, get the bump guys out here to fix it. We're not doing that.
I wish it was that organized, but it's not. It's
Sometimes
Hearsay.
we hear, like
there's
official.
apps that you can track that stuff with, like Trail Forks.
Okay.
But formal work days happen once a month. But it's like I was saying, like when we started, it's almost a day-to-day operation of just keeping that place top notch.
How many people do we have on our board? Will, what is it?
7.
7. Like we have a group text for our 7 people, and I would bet we text 10 times a minimum every single day. Our president, God bless him, crazy human being, Chase Draper, really good at running our group. Like I have texts from I've had to change my phone settings. You know, you can put a sleep thing so you don't get notifications. I had to change them
I do that.
so that I didn't get texts. We can't let him listen to this before 7 a.m. because if I didn't, I would have texts waking me up every morning from Chase. But like it's nonstop all day, every day.
Yeah. This is it's a full-time job, and we have regular jobs. I'm by no means ever going to complain about this. I might bitch about it sometimes, but it's just because we're passionate about it. It's fun to have a sense of pride, whether you're just joining in for a work day or you're on the board or you're on the race committee or you're just a big time volunteer. Like it's a full-time thing,
You know,
on top of full-time life.
Yeah.
And we just kind of do it because
You got to have a passion for it.
it's
for sure.
insanely rewarding, man. And like
it does feel good.
I can't believe. So I mean, I've been in Birmingham for a long time, and I've been on these trails for a long time, and I never really, like when we were building a trail, Jekyll and Hyde was a trail that was built, God, 10 plus years ago. It's a cool.
How do you
trail.
come up with these names? How do you just determine?
Man, I don't know.
Okay,
Is it
so
like an inside
Jekyll and Hyde.
joke? While
Jekyll
you're,
and Hyde.
What was one of them? Snake, rooster,
Rattlesnake.
chicken,
Cat, dog, snake.
cat,
Rat-
dog,
cat,
snake.
dog,
Cat,
snake?
dog, snake.
All right.
I don't get that one.
I don't get that one
So
either.
there are reasons for all, like there's a story behind all of them, and you just have to know the people. But Jekyll and Hyde, like Jekyll and Hyde has that name because it is two trails with very different characteristics. One part is very like
Yeah, I've ridden it. It makes
it's
sense.
both are fun and a little crazy, but like
That'd be
one
good.
is like kind of mellow and whoo, I'm having a good time. The other one's like like rocky. You could
Yeah.
fall, get hurt. Like it's scary. Yeah, like it. So that's the idea.
Night and day.
Night and day. Yeah, they're just very very different.
But is it voted upon, or like who
Nah, man.
christens the name? It's like, no, that's the name.
Somebody's a dictator.
The
There's
only
always
the only one the park I found out does not like is foreplay. For whatever reason, they don't like that one.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Wow.
Family-friendly park.
That's us in Alabama, man. We will tolerate any amount of nonsense.
It's-
But if you mention the existence of
Sexual behavior.
grown up
Can't do that.
relations, people get real.
Sacrilegious.
So-
It is a great warm-up trail.
it is. And it gets you primed.
It gets you primed,
Primed
ready
and
to
juicy.
go.
That's what it's
Bike
for.
racing.
And then you hit Johnson's Mountain.
Big
And then-
Johnson's.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Right up.
Yeah.
That
But
was
no, Johnson's Mountain is named after a really influential.
Yeah, the guy
Character.
who laid out a bunch of those trails. I want to make this pitch for trail work, and I mean nobody's gonna believe me. This is a podcast, and I could say anything, and it could be made up. But I promise you, this is true. Like I grew up, we lived at the end of a dirt road, on top of a hill, and so my dad worked like a dog keeping our road like functional, so we could drive up and down it, like digging ditches and moving rocks and doing all this hard backbreaking work, and I hated it. Every Saturday morning, get up, get work on the road, dig a ditch out, or this is blown out, or whatever. It was miserable because I had to do it, and it was just backbreaking work. When I go to trail day, and like I resisted going to trail day for years, and I finally started going to them, and you pick up a tool and you go out there, and you're like, oh, that trail is better now. Like I cleaned this drain out, and the trail is dry now. Oh man!
Especially when you ride it. Like
And then you
a few
ride it, and
days
you're like,
after.
I did that. I made that trail better.
so
And
it's
like,
rewarding on a deeper
dude,
level.
it is. It
Yeah.
feels so good, and it's not even like it's not like we work hard for a few hours, but it's nobody's making you do it. You can leave it at any time. But
And
there's
there's usually refreshments. And
usually
food
refreshments and
afterwards.
beer. I didn't say that. After,
Yeah.
we're not allowed to have certain refreshments, but we have them at the park, and it's nice. And man, just saying, if you had them, it's good. But man, it's a super rewarding thing to go be in the woods, and like there's something about having a group,
coaster's falling apart. Sorry.
like a cool group of people out there. And like the last work day I went to, I didn't know any of the people in my little crew. My sister and her kids came out, and then there was a bunch of people that I'd never met before, and we all worked out and like, okay, these roots are all like popping out. Let's fill some dirt in, and like let's cut this berm in, and like get the water off the trail here. And we did it, and everybody looks back like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a cool experience. It doesn't cost you anything. And in 4 hours, if you hate it, we still feed you lunch.
Yeah.
So work days are cool.
High fives. Sometimes there's prizes.
Sometimes.
So if people want to get involved with Bump, what is the best way to do that? Do they just show up, or is there like a sign up page?
I'm
or
here.
something?
I brought a shovel. What
Yeah.
can I do?
Bring your shovel. Bring your tractors. Anybody have a mini excavator? Holler at me.
Best-
But
Yeah, best thing to do is go find us on social media. Find us on our
Bump.org.
website, bump.org. And yeah, follow and like us
I don't know
on
what-
Facebook and social media, on Instagram.
yeah.
What are you doing over there, Nick?
Yeah. So
Scrub.
bump.org is our website since the beginning of time. We just updated
Impressive,
it.
by the way. Kudos to getting
Kudos.
bump.org.
Let me give Hunter
That's crazy.
Hunter Noble
Yeah.
a shout out for redesigning the current website, making it look real nice.
Clean it
Volunteer
up. Man,
right there
it's-
on bump.org.
It is crazy. Like we have to have ask for help for everything. Like I don't know how to build a website. I don't even know where they come from. But somebody out there does, and somebody in our membership did this and made it look good. And that's how our club works. It's like, hey, you're a lawyer. I sell beer and wine for a living. These are your strengths, these are my strengths. We play off of everybody's strengths and careers, and we make it work, and we manage to raise funds, and we're a high functioning club, and we manage a really badass system of trails that bring people out from every corner of the country.
I've never seen that there are groups of people that are exclusive and are have and have nots, or cool crowd and not cool crowd. I've never seen our group of people turn people away that are interested and want to get involved. It doesn't, and we don't care what kind of bike you ride or how you want to ride it. If you have a passion for being in the woods, we want you out there.
Yeah.
And so if you show up hey, I like what you've got on Instagram, that looks fun, let's do that. If you see us on Facebook and hey, there's these goobers are going to go work in the wood with hand tools. What's that like? Let's go see. There are entry points for you. Come out to the race and see what it's like. There's a professional athlete. Here's a guy, in blue jeans who's never raced a mountain bike before.
Overalls.
And overalls.
Overalls.
That would
What's
be
going to
our
happen?
president, our
You-
bump president.
That may be our bump
Overalls.
president. But man, it is a super inclusive group of people. And what I've found, and I think this is one of the coolest things about mountain bikes, is I ride mountain bikes all over the country, and I'm not necessarily an extroverted person. I don't walk up and meet people on the street. But when I go ride mountain bikes in places, I can turn to somebody and be like, "Hey, where are you from? What are you riding?"
Sure. It's like a good icebreaker. Yeah.
It is, and man, you find this common thing, people who appreciate appreciate the outdoors, appreciate the woods, who just want to go spend time in it. It really it breaks down this barrier, and so that's one of the coolest things about what's happening in the sport right now is we make it. I think with this club and what it's doing is we make it very accessible to everybody in the Birmingham area, but we also are seeing something happen on a bigger level, which are people that have never thought about riding mountain bikes or thought of mountain bikes as something for other groups of people are finding no, it's for everybody, man. Everybody can go do it. And it's fun and it welcoming, inclusive group. And if you show up on a work day, show up at our race and ask to get involved, we will find a place for you.
Do you guys, your club, do you guys partner with any local bike shops or anything like that?
We do, man.
Oh,
The bike shops
yeah.
are huge for us. Cahaba Cycles is massive.
Bike Link.
They're good folks. Bike Link is huge for us. Bike Link. So Cahaba and Bike Link have we have a 2-day race weekend. We have several races. The short track race, which I mentioned earlier, the Super D, Air D, the gravity races. Bike Link will be sponsoring those on June the 4th. Cahaba Cycles has the cross country day on June the 5th. Bob's Bike, which is another huge supporter of bikes.
Oh,
Bob's, the legendary bike shop in Birmingham, is sponsoring the kids races. So if you have a kid, you can bring your kid out kid races for free. Bob's is covering that cost. So man,
That's awesome.
they are clutch. All the shops are we know them on a first name basis. They are so invested in the sport. They all have slightly different targets, markets, and they sell to different groups of people. They all are just super solid groups and are huge for us. They've all supported us unbelievably well.
Yeah, since I guess the
dawn of time.
beginning of time,
Yes.
they've been around, and really goes to show just a business taking care of the community that
Yeah.
they're here to support.
Yeah.
Birmingham's a big small town or a small big town. I
Yeah, it
can't figure out
really
which
is, man. It's cool, and it looks like the sport's doing well here in Alabama. We got
It's
some.
big enough to support, I don't know how many shops. I
Yeah,
mean,
more.
I feel like every time I turn around, there's another Cahaba.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bike Link over in Hoover. You've got Bob's in Homewood. I mean, there's enough people riding bikes in Birmingham to justify having all these shops, and
Yeah.
still they're busy as all
Yeah.
get out.
But they
Yeah,
all, I mean,
demand's
everybody
there.
knows, like everybody knows each other and supports each other, and that's one of the cool things about our environment is like we have a place where like we all kind of know each other. Joe and Ferris and Roger all know and operate in the same space and run good businesses around each other. But we couldn't do without them this year. Man, like we have to have sponsors to make this event work. We need people to sign up, obviously, but we need corporate sponsors. And Hendrick Subaru has showed up, you know. Excuse me.
I saw him on the poster.
Man,
Yeah, that's cool.
you know, I don't know whose idea this was. It wasn't mine, but somebody was like, has anybody noticed that everybody in mountain biking drives Subarus? Somebody should go talk to the Subaru dealership that's closest to the
Hey,
trailhead."
get involved.
And we talked to them, and man, those guys were like, yeah, we want to support you. We want to be
Yeah.
involved. And so they stepped up in a huge way for us. So it's one of the good things. And maybe it's just that we're lucky there's a lot of good energy about mountain bikes right now. But man, people want to get involved with it and want to throw support in it. So,
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
for real.
come check out the Bump and Grind race. Anybody that's listening or watching, it's at Oak Mountain State Park, June 4th and 5th. And it's the 28th annual one. So, yeah, you guys have been doing this for a while.
28th.
Yeah, come do this, and then the World Games are shortly behind
It's a
that.
big year, man. We got a lot going on.
20th is,
Yeah.
you know what's going to be huge. We want people to come this year, and then in 2 years will be Bump and Grind 30, aka Bump and Grind Triple X.
Whoa,
I
that'll
can
be a
see the
bestseller
poster
right
already.
there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
we're
going to go ahead and pre-order
Hopefully
that.
the guys
If y'all
at Yellowhammer
mark
are
your
already
mark
working
your
on it.
calendar for 2024.
Yeah.
Well, dude, before we end, I know we've talked a lot about Birmingham mountain biking, specifically at Oak Mountain. I feel like we basically just talked about Oak Mountain the whole time. But do you guys get out of the state and go ride
yeah.
in other places? And what are
Absolutely.
some of your favorite places to go?
Joe, what's your favorite place? I bet I know what it is, but say it. Yeah. Right?
I have a lot of favorite places in no particular order. Windrock Bike Park.
Windrock Bike Park.
Windrock Bike Park. If you ever are feeling wild, just YouTube it. It's insane.
Where is it?
It's in Oliver Springs, just outside of Knoxville.
Okay, so it's only in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Not too far. I figured you were going to say, like, oh, I went to this badass place in Utah, somewhere like on
gonna
the
say
other
that
side of the
next.
country.
No, like what's awesome about Windrock is so it's a shuttle to bike park. So you show up, you pay your entry fee, you get a wristband, you get on a shuttle, like a truck with a trailer,
Sure.
and you ride up the mountain, and you could be sitting next to like literally like World Cup pros,
Just all bombing the hill together.
and you're all on the same shuttle. We might not be riding at the same speed, or we might not be hitting the same trail, but you're at the same bike park as these insane pros that I'm going to later watch on Red Bull TV.
They built it and run it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
World Cup pros built this park.
Yes, it's insane. So I go there to get my like insane like adrenaline fix,
Okay.
but
I'm not allowed to ride there. I'm too fragile.
We'll get you there.
it's time. It's coming. Baker's Creek in Knoxville is awesome. Anywhere up in Pisgah, like huge shout out to Mulberry Gap, in North Georgia. They've hosted our club for a couple meetings and big group rides. That's up in the
Cohutta Wilderness
Yeah.
in the Blue Ridge. It is beautiful and
Oh,
wild.
Blue Ridge Mountains are beautiful. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy beautiful.
actual rainforest.
Yeah.
With huge mountains, beautiful flora and fauna, like awesome place to be outside. There's the Riveter Bike Park. There's my friend Barry Nobles. He has an insane backyard that breaks people off every day.
Is that the dude that does like? Does he have like a YouTube channel or something? I feel like
yeah.
I've seen his stuff.
Yeah,
Dude is
you've probably seen it.
Like
He's
the X
a
Games.
big
Yeah, he
BMX
does like all
racer.
kinds of stuff. Yeah.
He's got a cool compound just outside of Birmingham, and excellent spot there. Oh, okay. I'm glad you asked, because I just wanted to highlight the fact that we can go from Asheville which has Pisgah, a place like Riveter Bike Park. You can go over to East Tennessee, hit Knoxville, Winrock Bike Park. You can go to Chattanooga, hit all of their new bike parks.
Chattanooga's incredible.
Then you can go over to North Georgia and hit Mulberry Gap. You can hit Jared's Place starting in May. Then you can come down and then hit Birmingham with Oak Mountain, Tannehill, Trussville,
Cahaba River.
Cahaba River Park.
Isn't there another one like North Alabama, like
There's-
Blue Hill or Blue Mountain or something?
You've got Ride
Or
Beham,
am I
which
just
is
making that up?
I don't want to spill the beans too much on these guys, but they're
New
building,
bike park in Birmingham.
They're building a bike park at the end of Red Mountain. So Red Mountain is a ridge line.
Okay, I may have heard about
They
that.
have access to the kind of tail end of Red Mountain,
West side of Red Mountain Park.
towards Bessemer. So that'll be a paid bike park, kind of first of its kind here in Alabama.
Yeah, what is that exactly? Is it like a BMX track? Is it like a
Down-
when you
it's
say
kinda like-
bike park? What is it?
So it's just a small bit of mountain with like 300 feet of elevation, and it's like pedal up, come down, pedal up, come down.
Okay.
But it's big jumps, fast flowy berms. They're gonna have a lot of like cool intro level stuff. Oh my gosh, we're getting there. All right, so we're finally uncovering all the stuff I wanted to talk about. I'm finally remembering. So
Hour two,
Red-
yeah,
right here. at
Red
the very-
Mountain's coming along, or excuse me, Ride Beham's coming along. Then there's Double Oak Mountain Park. Confusing. I didn't name it, but
Double
Double Oak Mountain Park,
Double
not
Mountain.
associated
Brand new,
with Oak
not
Mountain
us.
Park.
so good they
So is it
named
Oak
twice.
Oak Mountain Park?
Oak
Oak.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Oak,
Shelby,
Oak Mountain.
Shelby County's building that just off of 280 on what's that highway?
43.
43.
Yep.
So that's going to be a new
Brand new,
park.
beautiful 11-mile trail system on the side of a big mountain.
same
Right.
same.
Can't keep up, man.
Same-
There's
Yeah.
So much, man.
happening.
Yes, and there's more. Our club, we've been talking to a group that builds world-class pump tracks and skills parks. So I'm not going to divulge too many details, but we have a huge project coming along.
All that
will-
stuff that Will knows how to do, that Will learned how to do as a baby riding BMXs. Like if you didn't learn how to do that and you ride these big advanced features on trails like Storyteller, you get broken in half. What mountain biking has figured out is like you can teach people how to do those skills in like a safe, contained, small area before you go up the mountain.
Go dive off a cliff.
Right.
Right.
That you
Gotcha.
learn how to handle the bike, learn how to handle the bike in the air, learn how to do all these techniques that are necessary to fly the bike.
You
through
don't
the air,
endo and all that stuff.
so you don't break your legs off.
Right.
And so we're gonna have one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're working with Oak Mountain to kind of take over, reclaim an area that's kind of lost and forgotten, and make it into a world-class skills area with a pump track, and hopefully host some insane events over there. So about $500,000 later.
Yeah, that's gonna. That takes a lot of money, but we've had donors step up for that stuff.
Donors are coming through. We're applying for grants, but obviously we accept help from any and all angle. So if anybody's got an in on that, we'll take it. But we're pushing forward really hard to make Oak Mountain and to kind of continue this growth that Birmingham is having, because I think like we just named off half a dozen spots, and I didn't even mention the 50,000 square foot skate park going on downtown.
Oh yeah. No, we've
Uh,
talked about that extensively.
at length,
Anybody
yeah.
that
Yeah, I
listens to our podcast.
Big supporters.
So I actually listened to your podcast with him, and that's what motivated me to like reach out and message you guys. Like I was thinking, well, shit, like
The mountain biking world's doing a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff too. Yeah.
you name drop Bump in a previous episode, and I
It was it was literally the one right. That's why I thought you messaged me, and then you went back and listened to it. And you're like, oh, you like.
no, I didn't. Yeah, I think I listened to like some, I don't know, some random thing. I was like, I want to be on a podcast, so I just like reached
That's
out.
cool,
and was
man.
Like that.
Well,
We got a lot.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about. I mean, there's so much good
We just
happening.
skimmed over the fact that like Birmingham is about to be a mecca.
Dude, I mean,
For-
in
Yes,
so many different
yes.
areas. Like it's
So I hope everybody's ready to see mountain bikes on bike racks and just like bikes around town. Like
I feel like
it's gonna happen.
It's cool, man.
Well,
It's
I would
awesome.
say even just the infrastructure downtown to be more acceptable to bikes,
Yeah.
just like not road bike, just like regular commuter bikes.
Yeah, just
which is
pedaling.
what I'm into. It's like I'm not trying to do 20 miles
Not
on a
trying to
road
win a
bike,
race.
but I'm not trying to haul ass down the mountain.
Just
I
wanna
want to
get
go to
from point A to point
Publix
B.
and buy my groceries on a bike.
I'm just
Why
trying to
can't
go
you do
from
that?
like back 40 to
That
Good
trail
People.
is so sick.
Isn't that
We
great?
hit it Sunday or Saturday.
Yes.
Man, this is a whole different podcast, and I'm not going to go there. But like, I've been a huge proponent of like, bikes are. This is a true statement. They are the most efficient form of human transportation. There's nothing else you can do with your body power that'll translate into energy and distance more than a bike. And bikes are great, and they're relative to a car, real cheap. Tell them. Birmingham, like we're blessed. Like 350 days out of the year, you can probably ride a bike somewhere without needing a ski suit, or like, having some other special
Hide
equipment.
somewhere from a tornado coming.
Right. Like
Yeah.
you can ride a bike to get around Birmingham. And we have like Metro Birmingham, downtown Birmingham is pretty much flat. Yeah, we have got hills on either side, but like if you are in the downtown corridor from Crestwood
east to
to
west.
west side, yeah, Inslee, man, you can get around on a bike. And like Birmingham has a whole lot of historical like inequity and injustice. Bikes are a pretty great leveler. Like you can
Yeah.
get from point A to point B on a bicycle. You don't have to have a ton of money to do it. And like I'm a huge believer in like let's make this place more bike accessible. Birmingham and Alabama as a whole, like if you grow up in Alabama, you have this like inferiority complex. People are always talking, "Oh, Alabama sucks. Like we're the last or whatever." Guess
Definitely a
what?
stereotype.
We are not last in bikes. We're really good at it. We have amazing terrain. It's a place where you can ride a bike and get around most of the year, and the weather's great. We have beautiful terrain, beautiful geography. Like we're lucky, man. This is a thing that we've got that we should be really proud of. And so, like I'm really proud of our mayor right now in Birmingham. Randall Woodfin is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we're big supporters.
Daryl O'Quinn, city councilor.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Daryl is an amazing talent on a bike. Daryl was a really, really, really good bike racer when he was into it. He still has that gene in him. But like Birmingham has some people that are huge bike advocates, and I want to ride hard for those guys because they're big for it, and not in the like put on a race number and race, but in the like bikes are awesome and a great way to live your life and experience your city. So
Yeah.
we're lucky in that way, man. I think it's a cool thing.
Yeah,
cool
and
to
I
have.
think a lot of really cool things coming with the park and then with the new trail system that ties in. Basically, I think the grand plan I saw, it's going to basically tie the Continental Gin all the way to Railroad Park. It's like going to be one long, y'all may know more about it than I do. But
Yeah.
so far, they just completed the part next to the new ghost train that connects basically Avondale to
Right.
everything. We rode that just 2 days
Yes.
ago.
Everybody who
Yeah.
rides that is like,
Man, it's so cool, and you're not on
This
the
is great.
road. And
Oh,
this is
it's
great.
so
Why can't I
fun.
do more of this?
Yeah,
I
it's,
scootered it
super
last
fun.
night from.
You can
we-
see. I
yeah,
skated it,
we
man. I
parked-
could ride my skateboard all the way across.
But I
this
would
whole
say
place.
it's great for like beginner,
Yeah.
like because I'm more into the commuter space. I'm kind of in the middle, not road bikes, not mountain bikes, but like somebody getting comfortable on the road of like, okay, I need to go to Publix to get my groceries,
But I don't want to get killed.
I don't want to take
by
off
a
down
bus.
Fifth Avenue.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's great to like getting you comfortable on the road because there's a few
Yes.
crossovers, and then like once you're down there, it's like then you have all your other side streets that aren't super busy. It's
Right.
great. I don't know. I think it's great.
Man.
I love it.
So the road that it runs parallel to, like that new trail, Hugh Call Trail, it's First Avenue South, and First Avenue South is like it used to have all these rail sidings where the railroad track right there cut over, and there was like a very shallow angle. What is it? Obtuse? What?
Just enough for you to get
Just
work.
enough for a wheel to sink into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I have known 2 different people break their hip or pelvis crashing on First Avenue South, and it was like, this is the best road in downtown Birmingham
All
to
right,
get
let's
from like
avoid
downtown.
First
All right,
This
so-
is terrible, but now there's a trail there,
Yeah.
and it's easy, and you can ride without traffic, and you're just like, hey, I'm downtown now. Boom, I'm in Avondale.
In
Easy.
case you're
So
listening and wondering, always cross the railroad tracks at a 90-degree angle.
Don't go in there. Yeah.
Whether you're on a scooter or a bike, your
90
rollerblades.
degree
What else?
angle.
Unicycle.
Yeah,
Unicycle.
unicycle. Hey,
We have our unicycle race.
There's a unicycle.
There's a
race.
unicycle race. Are you
Believe it or not.
serious?
Is it down mountain?
Mountain
No.
bike. Mountain bike.
Mountain
Those are the
unicycle.
craziest
That's a
people.
thing.
It is
It's a
a
thing
very
there.
small
That's
niche
a whole nother podcast. Right
That's a
there,
whole other
guys.
podcast.
Well,
I
dude,
don't
this
know.
has been awesome. We could probably talk for another hour, just all the crazy, cool, exciting things that are happening in Birmingham, and
We're excited about
we'll
it, man.
definitely get you guys back on. But thanks for kind of shedding a light into the world of
Thank you for letting us talk
cycling,
about
and
it.
especially on the mountain biking aspect. I think again, shout out to Redemptive Cycles. We had those guys on, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of talking to the community outreach. They got a really good
They
program.
do. Those guys are doing great work.
So they're awesome. But yeah, it's cool to see what Bump's got going on, and
Yeah, man.
we shouted out earlier. But if people wanted to get involved, and I guess just find you guys on social media and check out bump.org.
Yeah. Bump.org, Bump and Grind, June 4th and 5th.
Bumping.
Come see what it's about.
So I think actually the next step is probably going to be, I would be willing to pay your entry fee.
Ooh, yeah, I like this.
Oh
like this is
snap!
going.
Okay, really?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Like-
I'm game. Let's
Yeah,
go.
you're up. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about it more. But
No, we're gonna talk about it right
Yeah.
now. Let's go.
No,
Get that-
let's
let's
do
get
it
that
on
record
there.
that.
Let's do it on air.
We're on
so
air.
let's go for a ride.
You should talk to the race director.
Let's go for a ride. That's the race director.
He's
Okay.
covered your race fee. You're in.
Sweet.
so
All right, I'm racing.
I would
Here we
like
go.
to. So we're gonna pick your event, whether it be Saturday or Sunday. You want to do really fast down or a little bit longer over like 9 miles. or
Something
so.
mellow, yeah. Whatever's the mellow.
The
thing.
kids race that we saw.
Kids
Yeah,
race.
sign me up
Kids
for the
race.
kids
Little
race.
hammy.
You just have to ride a kid's bike.
Okay.
Either
fair.
way.
Deal.
No, whatever you-
Deal.
no,
I'd pay for that.
What we'll do
Honestly,
is we're gonna do that. I think we should let's get you involved, maybe with a bum grind, see what your schedule allows. June
Okay.
4th and 5th, and then we'll do a quick supplement to this and kind of say, hey,
Kinda give
you
you were
my-
there for
my
a
experience.
day or so.
Okay,
what your
that's fair.
experience was like as a first-time mountain bike racer.
I love it.
We're gonna strap a GoPro to it. We're gonna film the
Ooh.
whole.
Oh, I've got some
thing.
No
videos,
pressure.
man.
If,
Hey.
if this is edited out, I understand, but
No,
Put me on
that's
the
cool.
spot, but I think it's kind of
Let's do it.
Hey, that's you need somebody to kind of push you. Iron sharpens iron, so that's cool.
right.
I'd be down to try it. Yeah, I'm
make it
open to.
We
doing
tried
new
to
things.
get in on the tall bike races.
I
Oh,
didn't-
they did the
yeah.
tall bike joust.
Those are
The
Tall bike
bike
joust.
joust,
That's
yeah.
what I meant.
Those
Yes.
are so much. Those are so.
That's
interesting.
Yo, we
I
went
didn't
down
want
there.
to
It
do
was
that. I was
crazy.
joking when I said I wanted to do that. I'm not crying.
I wasn't.
do that.
I just
You've
know how
only
to
had
build a tall
8
bike.
ounces
That's a
of
trip to
water.
the ER.
You've only had 8
Yeah, I
ounces
know. I
of
need a
water.
few more Devil's Harvest breakfast IPAs, and then I'd be ready to roll. Put on a tall bike. But yeah, man, that sounds cool. I'm open to doing that. That'd be
Let's do
cool.
it.
It'll be fun.
That would be
Nonetheless,
fun.
you can come spectate and just like get a feeling for the race vibe and
Cheer, heckle.
see what's happening.
Cheer, heckle. Oh
Smack that
yeah,
time
yeah.
required.
Oh, I'll be there heckling for sure.
Thanks.
That's where it's at.
Look at this dude.
Expect to see you guys there.
Bikes.
Well, dude, thanks for coming,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks for
This
having
was
us on.
awesome. And until
you so
next
much.
time, we'll see you.
Right on.